Hello and welcome to the AM show here on the Joy News channel. Now, this is the holiday edition of it because today we are celebrating or we are witnessing the holiday which should have been on the 1st of July. But when this government came to power, they amended the Holidays Act to give powers to the president to push any holiday that falls within the week to the Friday. And that's why you and I are experiencing this particular holiday today. But you know what? It promises to be a good day because once you're relaxing in your home, we will make sure you do not miss anything in terms of information, in terms of education, what's happening in the country. We will make sure you get it. So stay with us from now to 10 a.m. Let's share the morning together. Now, we'll start the show with the AM news. After that, we'll bring you the AM sports, followed by the news review where we'll have lawyer Andrews Musah Dankwa. He is a lawyer and spokesperson for Movement for Change. Also joining him is his colleague, lawyer and schoolmate, Kwame Nkrumah, General Secretary of the CPP and also a lawyer as well. Now, after that, we'll move on to the big stories where on the show this morning, we delve into the latest global info analytics poll, which is looking at who is leading the race to become the NPP's flag bearer for the 2028 election as the party gears up for its crucial selection. We'll also unpack the numbers on the NDC side, who is emerging as a front runner in the flag bearer race to lead a particular party after President John Dramani Mahama does his final term. Plus, we'll bring you regional updates from the ongoing National Science and Maths Quiz. The surprises, the upsets, and the schools making headlines. All these and more coming up over the next 4 hours. Do stay with us. My name is Samuel Kojo Braze, and on behalf of the team, I say welcome to the AM show. Now, let's do the AM news now. And the Minister for Communications, Samuel Nate George, has reviewed the arrest of over 400 individuals linked to various cyber crimes, including fraud, forgery, and romance crime. The suspects have been arrested at 2 separate locations in Tema and Sogakope in special operations by the Cybersecurity Agency and the Ghana Police Service. He made this revelation at a press briefing on Thursday, and we have more in this report.
Cyber fraud and romance scam have become a growing trend which government is finding ways to deal with in a move to curb the menace. Early this week, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, and Interpol, in partnership with Ghanaian counterparts, repatriated a businessman, Joseph Bedu-Boating, also known as Dada Joe Remix, to the U.S. to face prosecution over allegations of duping unsuspecting American citizens of over $1 million in a romance scam. Communications Minister Samuel Nate George at a press conference on Thursday provided some updates on the matter as he revealed over 400 individuals have also been arrested in Ghana over similar cases.
As of today, 4 of the 5 persons have been successfully apprehended, 3 have been extradited, and 1 is about to be extradited to the U.S. by Interpol and the AG's office. In one instance, the CSA and the Ghana Immigration Service busted a pig butchering fraud hosting center at the Nyamidria Estate in Tema Community 26. Over 400 persons were arrested from 8 different nationalities. In that particular raid, we seized 4,000 mobile phones, 70 laptops, and 5 firearms. The CSA, in another operation with the Ghana Police Service, busted a sophisticated recruitment fraud ring. After weeks of detailed surveillance, an operation was carried out with the Ghana Police Service in Sogakope, leading to the arrest of 11 suspects, including the gang leader of the group. The gang had extensive capabilities, including forging national identity documents. They're in the cooler now, thanks to the work of the CSA.
The minister also announced a number of measures to help content creators generate revenue, as well as clamp down on nudity on social media, especially on TikTok.
The ministry has formally reopened engagements with PayPal to ensure full access to its service for Ghanaian users. That I'm deeply concerned about some of the content on TikTok, like sex and explicit material on TikTok is completely unacceptable and against our culture and our norms. And those were parts of the conversation I held with TikTok's team to have content moderation in country. But the cybersecurity authorities mandated to do constant surveillance of TikTok platforms and accounts in country that are engaged in content that is anti our culture and not appropriate, and work with the platform operator to take down those accounts and block the owners of those accounts from operating on those platforms.
He also had some good news for subscribers of DSTV.
I have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, Friday, even though it's a public holiday, with the Ghana team and their South African counterparts, the management from South Africa. They arrived tonight to agree on a way forward on the issues raised. The outcomes will be shared with the public in due course. This engagement reflects our commitment to regulatory accountability and our resolve to ensure that digital services in Ghana remain fair, accessible, and responsive to the needs of citizens. I make you one promise. I won't leave tomorrow's meeting without securing a drop in the price of DSTV. That is a solemn promise I make to you.
Meanwhile, government has given a third and final deadline to Next Gen Infranco, the company tasked to roll out 5G services across the country, to do so by end of year or risk a renegotiation of their contract. The ministry says it is poised to amend at least 15 of Ghana's communication laws, as well as introduce new bills in parliament to boost robotic and AI studies in Ghana. James Savage's report for Joy News.
Well, away from that, the New Patriotic Party is raising concerns over what it describes as a constitutional breach in the arrest and prolonged detention of the former chief executive officer of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, Wahab Abdul Hanan. Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed, says the ongoing custody of the former CEO by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, infringes on the proper interpretation of Ghana's constitution. His comments come after party supporters and sympathizers stormed the EOCO headquarters in Accra last night to demand his release. Stephen Mensah has more in the following report.
It's been 10 days now since the arrest of the former chief executive officer of the Buffer Stock Company Limited, Wahab Abdul Anan. He's been arrested together with his wife and given a 50 million Ghana cedi bail condition with two sureties. He's currently being held up at the Economic and Organized Crime Office headquarters here in Accra. Earlier today, supporters of the New Patriotic Party massed up at the headquarters of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, asking for his release. We've been speaking to some of the senior members of the NPP who joined supporters here at the Economic and Organized Crime Head Office here in Accra, and they say that his continuous apprehension and custody in EOCO quarters is in sharp contrast to the law.
You've accused the person, you've brought the person, you put a bail condition. The person has satisfied the bail condition. Release him and go to court. Because you want the person to be punished for the crime. The crime that they are talking about now is suspicion. It's not reality. What we are saying is that there are rules for accountability. Accountability has no expiry time. Anybody at all with a mandate can call for accountability. And that is why in the maxim of equity, that he who comes to equity must come with clean hands.
We are here to let the EOCO knows that Ghana is governed by a constitution. Constitutionally, the EOCO have not any mandate. They don't have any mandate to keep a suspect in their custody for about 10 to 12 days, more than the constitutional right for a person to keep about 24 hours, to exceed the 24 hours, and you keep the person without any information.
For now, it is unclear as to when the former chief executive officer of the Buffer Stock Company Limited will be released. For Joy News, Stephen Mensah, Accra.
From that, fresh data from the Ghana AIDS Commission indicates that the Greater Accra region has recorded most HIV cases and new infections. The report also revealed over 18,000 children nationwide are reported to be living with the virus. Maxwell Aklobotu, a member of Joy News Research Desk, has more in this report.
The Greater Accra region tops the chart among all 16 regions with the highest number of persons living with HIV. Recent data from the Ghana AIDS Commission shows that the region currently has over 77,000 people living with the virus. Greater Accra not only leads in overall cases but also at the district level, where Accra Metropolis recorded the highest number of infections. Isaiah Doe is the Director of Research, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ghana AIDS Commission.
Greater Accra, 77,821 out of the 334 or so people living with HIV. The greatest burden is on Greater Accra, and it's obvious. The urban centers. And it tapers, decreases at Northeast, 1,117. That's the list for the regions. So Greater Accra, Ashanti, 63,159, Eastern, 44,792, until Northeast, 1,717.
The data also revealed that over 18,000 children are living with the virus.
Now, children living with HIV, which we must look at it critically, because these are the future leaders of this country. We have 0 to 14, 18,229 children living with HIV and AIDS.
Present at the report launch was the UN AIDS Country Director for Ghana, Hector Sasila, who called on stakeholders to prioritize domestic funding to help close the gap created by the withdrawal of US aid support.
As you're aware, now we're facing globally challenges in HIV response due to the lack of funding globally, and this is also touching Ghana. So we need to try to make efforts to mobilize domestic funding.
In response, Acting Director General of the Commission highlighted that the Commission will now focus on domestic production of HIV care commodities.
Key highlights in this roadmap is the fact that we are going to rely mostly on the domestic production of the commodities. The commodities we mean the medications, the HIV medications, the condoms, the lubricants, and all the test kits that go alongside with the HIV care. Once we do that, we would be able to localize our own country's counterpart funding component of the Global Fund into consumption of that.
With improvements in both national and sub-national data collection and renewed pledges to enforce effective policies, the Ghana AIDS Commission says it remains committed to ending the HIV epidemic in the country in the shortest possible term. Maxwell Akloboto for Joy News.
Well, it's been a charged week in Takrade Day as the 2025 Western Regional Qualifiers of the National Science and Maths Quiz came to a close. After a day packed with drama, surprises, and back-to-back contests, Ghana's Secondary Technical School rose above the rest, beating Archbishop Porter Girls Senior High School and overpowering Secondary College to claim the championship title. Here is Adobia Asari's report for you.
The atmosphere has been electric all week, filled with roaring cheers and tense silences. The 2025 Western Regional Qualifiers of the National Science and Maths Quiz has ended, with Ghana's Secondary Technical School crowned as regional champions.
As you can see, it's very intense here. It's almost chaotic. I've had to hold my shoes because these boys will not even allow me to breathe. They're so excited that they've been crowned champions of the West. Exactly how are you feeling?
I'm feeling very, very good.
The day featured 4 separate contests. The first 3 helped narrow down the finalists, who then locked horns in a high-stakes final showdown. Archbishop Porter girls nearly missed the final slot, narrowly edging out Amenfiman Senior High School, who gave them a serious run for their money in the first 3 rounds of the first contest. But the Porters bounced back with brilliance, answering all 4 riddles correctly to clinch a 400 cedi cash prize from the Gore Riddle Bonanza. 2024 regional champions St. John's School lost their grip on the crown after failing to Secondary College in the second contest. In the third contest, the Giants from Ghana Secondary Technical School took full control, dominating all 4 rounds and finishing with a commanding 42 points. Though they didn't make it to the final, Takwa SHS walked away with a 200 cedi consolation prize for answering 3 riddles correctly. Then came the grand finale, a contest charged with energy, chance, and bragging rights. Before it even began, GSTS and Secondary College exchanged playful jabs through Jama songs. In the end, GSTS proved unbeatable, once again dominating all 4 rounds and securing victory with 37 points.
Yes, GSTS.
Electrical conductance.
That is correct. 3 points.
Despite missing the top spots, Archbishop Porter girls say they've taken key lessons and will return stronger at the national championship.
It's a bit hurtful that we didn't get the championship, but we know that we are good, and then we are going to work on what's our mistakes and do well for the nationals.
Quiz mistress Dr. Anita Opon shared her impressions of this year's regional showdown.
I was here 2 years ago, so compared to 2 years, or the last 2 years and this year, I think there's been an improvement in the Western regional schools. A lot of the schools performed very well.
For Joy News, Adobia Asari.
Okay,
Well, let's now do some business updates on the AM News. Now, Bank of Ghana has released some $300 million as coupon payment to Euro bond holders today. They did that on Thursday. Now, this was after government released the cedi component of these debts to the central bank some weeks ago. We have more in this report.
Joy Business understands that the payment was done today after extending the needed transfers to the corresponding banks in Europe and America. These banks are expected to do the necessary electronic transfers to persons that are holding Eurobond issued by Ghana. Government is making these payments after it reached an agreement with these bondholders to restructure debt owed them. The Ministry of Finance is expected to make another set of payments in August this year. Government has given the firm assurance that it has put in place the necessary measures to ensure that it does not default on payment due to investors in the coming month. It, for instance, cites the debt servicing account that has been established as well as strong reserves built by the Bank of Ghana as one of the strongest guarantees and assurance for offshore investors. Some have argued that the development could impact positively on Ghana's ratings going forward.
Now, away from that, the Commissioner of Domestic Tax Revenue Division at the Ghana Revenue Authority, Edward Apinting Jamra, has told Joy Business that provisional data available indicates that the GRA is on course to meet revenue target for 2025. He made the forecast after the GRA engaged some stakeholders on the VAT reforms in Accra.
So, indeed, it's not a new tax. And why would I say so? When Act 870 was passed, insurance or taxation of financial services was included, under which insurance will come in. Now, along the line, in preparing to pass or to implement a tax on insurance services, there were a few challenges ahead. So when the new government came in, that is the then NPP government in 2017, and they passed a law to abolish the tax on financial services, which included the life insurance.
Oh, okay.
But in 2023, the law was amended to bring it back, the tax on financial services. So it was in the works. And the GRA then had to work on the modalities and the various arrangements. We don't work alone. We work with our stakeholders. So we have to engage them to get our practice notes and other preparations, even for them to even prepare their own system to be able to capture the tax adequately. So this will work on it. And then this change of government again. So in 2025, in April,
I think so far so good. We are on track with our revenue performance, and we are hoping that come the end of the year, we will be able to exceed the revenue target given to us.
Have we met the half year?
Yes.
We've met the half?
Yeah, we've met the half year. But the June ended just on Sunday, but the provisional figures is showing that we have exceeded the half-year target. But we will be able to give you the full figures by the close of the week.
Apologies for the wrong video we played earlier. Now, away from that, the national president of the Association of Rural Banks, Eric Appiah, has called for immediate collaboration between rural banks and security agencies amid rising security threats across the rural banking sector. He made the call at the 36th annual general meeting of the Fiasman Rural Bank in Bogoso, where the bank also reported strong financial performance. Nathalia Konsa was there and has the rest of the story.
The sidelines of the 36th annual general meeting of the Fiasman Rural Bank, leaders in Ghana's rural banking sector shared both their achievements and pressing challenges.
We are operating in a mining environment, and these miners are paid per dollar. So once the dollar reduces, their pay also reduces. And if somebody has based on the previous dollar rates in collecting loans, and the dollar has reduced to such an appreciable level, you can just imagine that it will affect their take-home pay, though they are able to pay the loans, but their take-home pay is what has reduced. So that is the effect it's having. But virtually, you see that there has been an improvement in the inflationary rates, improvement in the strength of the CD, and this will have a ripple effect in our businesses and stuff like that. But those of us who are in mining community, you know that it's affecting those who were paid by the dollar rates.
The bank's location in a mining community means it is especially sensitive to currency fluctuations. Despite the challenges, the bank has posted impressive numbers with deposit figures nearly doubling and profit margins showing over 70% growth.
Well, just before we wrap up the news, the Metropolitan Chief Executive of Cape Coast, George Justice Arthur, has indicated that resetting the country includes resetting all aspects of it. Speaking at a meeting with the clergy in Cape Coast, the MC stated that having religious authorities participating in decision-making in the country will help the government's resetting agenda, adding that including the clergy in proper sanitation advocacy in the metro will aid in developing Cape Coast.
The message of proper sanitation continues to be the highlight of several conversations by political authorities in the central region, and at a recent meeting with the clergy, the Cape Coast Mayor, George Justice Arthur, shared that including religious leaders is one of the ways to mobilize more people to undertake proper sanitation practices.
The issue of clean-up exercise or sanitation, that is going to happen on Saturday. I believe that bringing the clergies together, sensitizing them, tell them the need for them to get involved and get their members involved on embarking a massive clean-up exercise is the way to go. And we are here to witness the massive clean-up exercise on Saturday after bringing all these people on board. Resetting Ghana means we need to reset everything. So bringing the clergies together would enable you reset the nation. I believe that bringing the diverse opinions and bringing people together in this nature would enable Cape Coast to be developed and will help His Excellency President John Dramani Mohammed's vision of resetting Ghana. Resetting Ghana would also means that we should reset Cape Coast, because when we reset our districts, our metropolitan assemblies and the region would go a long way to affect Ghana as a whole.
Reverend Stephen Mensah, the chairman of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council for Cape Coast Metro, applauded the mayor's decision of including religious authorities in executing his vision.
The purpose for calling the clergy is that he understands that he can't do away with the clergy. You can't relegate the role of the clergy today if you want to have a very successful leadership. So he shared with us his vision, the plans he has for the metro, and it's so beautiful. I love how he fears God and the God aspect or the God part of his leadership that he wants to add to his leadership or his tenure of office. So God richly bless him. The most fascinating part of the vision is the environmental part of the whole stuff. I was worried when he mentioned that the metro spends not less than 40,000 Ghana cedis a day on collecting refuse. This is so serious. And I was glad he has plans of how to, deal with that challenge. And there is a day set where the whole metropolitan would come out and clean our communities, and I applaud him for that.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
So that's our AM News Bulletin for you. Let's now bring you AM Sport, where our sports presenter Chutama Glo has been interviewing Masoud Didi Dramani, the new head coach of Hearts of Oak, and they spoke about varied of issues, including Kamal Dean's move to Atlanta. Enjoy this.
Coach, welcome to Joy Sports and congratulations on your appointment.
Thanks, how is everything?
We're good, by the grace of God. And I could tell the enthusiasm from the training session moments earlier. Just how happy are you to be Hearts of Oak head coach?
I wouldn't say I'm happy, but I would rather be talking about it's a privilege to have an opportunity to be the head coach of the oldest club in the history of Ghana, Accra House of Oak. It's a desire and the interest of everyone to have that privilege to serve an institution of that sort. I need not to talk about other places because now I'm here as a professional. So I just think that I'll say yes. I'm privileged in terms of professional integration.
Right. How long have you waited for this job?
Well, I don't. To be honest with you, I have never waited in vacuum and crying for a particular job. No. I have never done that. I have never. I've always trained my mind and emotions that as a practicing person, all that you have to be doing is that you have to be active. You have to be doing a sort of work.
Yeah.
So if you are a mechanic, you don't wait until somebody brings his car. You have to make sure that you are always ready.
Relevant
Sometimes
in the industry.
Go into that industry with a partner and then help. So that's how I have instituted myself along. I have never been in vacuum since I started, right from stopping playing in
2001 was it?
No, in 1999.
Right.
Yes, because I stopped playing in 1999-2000 season. So right from that moment, I enrolled myself that I wanted to go into coaching, and that took me into my university education in Winnipeg, to do exactly a course that will propel my career ambitions. So I have never been in a vacuum. I've always, I don't care if it is a 3rd division, 2nd division, community area, I get in everywhere, and I just impact. So that's my passion. So it's never my interest. It's just my passion, just to impact, make sure that I create a value, I create an interest, I impact, and then I effect a change. I put something into people. I entrust people in some responsibilities. That is me.
I asked that question because 2021, you spoke to my colleague Muftau, and you said even though you had coached Kotoko, you were a big Accra Hearts-Ewoks fan. I
think growing up as a young boy and playing for my alma mater, Rita Male United, and I supported House of Folk before getting to play to play. Yeah. Because my late dad was also a Phobian. My home was Phobian. So, and I think my first House of Folk game I watched was I think 79, 80 or so. It was against Cornerstone at the Accra Sports Stadium. And I had come from...
so that's fresh off the musical youth cycle?
No. Those were the Razak Jibril. Right. You remember there was a Jibril who came to his father? Yeah. And then they were the Ofe and Sense and others. So but then I was very young, but then I had not even gone to RTU. I went to RTU in 83. Very young. Right. So those days they had to increase my age to be able to play with the older ones because I was so small, but I was very intelligent when it comes to the game understanding. Can you imagine? My dad was a coach, and all I have always thought about is football. Always there was football in my dad's car, and it was meant for me to always play. So I was born in a football home. So I got my traits from those periods. So I started having a soft heart for House of Folk from those times. Right. So even at RTU, each time I finish playing my game, I'll try to find out. So I knew a lot about the House of Folk. In my coach team, you know what my nickname was? No. It was Gomash. House of Folk had a player called George Gomashi. Yeah. So my officials in the coach team, my coach team was House Babies, Tamale House Babies. They were all Phobians, so they will give us their names as our nicknames. You'll be named after the players at that time. Yes. And so when I was playing in RTU, my role model was Offense, and we were very close. Even though I was playing RTU, playing here, and he was playing here. Yeah. But I was young. He and Kwesi Appiah. And he would always give me House of Folk apparel. But can I use it there? Those years, you cannot use it. How are you going to use it? No, you can't. You can't use it. I can only wear it when I'm in my room. But even when I'm stepping out of my room, I have to take it out. Yeah. Because someone sees you with a House of Folk dress or Kotoko dress. Problem for you. It's a big problem. So this is how I incarnated myself. But I was a professional. When I'm playing against House of Folk, I never even thought that it is when I finish, then I say, oh, this is my club. Oh. Then I'll be looking at the league table and then looking at where they lie. So you've spoken at length about your interests shaped by the sort of education you had and the sort of home you came from. And over the course of your career, we have also seen you move into not just coaching, but the teaching aspects and the management aspects of football. Would you say your career trajectory has been shaped by where you came from? Because I was also told of your father's role. He's once upon a time General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, also mentored by the late legendary Ohene-Jan. Did your association with your father and Ohene-Jan, did they shape you? I think it's the genes, and you know when there's a teacher in your home, yeah, of course you believe that someone in the home can take those traces, and so I think that there was no doubt in any case that when I sat with my dad and we talked football, you know, there are things that he told me those years that I still have them and I still use them. That are still relevant today. Very, very relevant, because I remember there was this key thing that he told me, that sometimes you need to use economic methods of coaching. You know what I mean? No. You know, it is when you don't have time and then you are close to some matches or competition that you need to do so many aspects: physical, technical, tactical, psychological, doing all the fundamental criteria into one, because you don't have time to do it, you know, details separately. So you need to, you know, take little by little, but still you know that you are still getting everything. Right. And even that time I was not a coach. But it's still very relevant today, and it will be relevant tomorrow, and it will be relevant into the future.
Now, let's talk about the last 5 years of your life. You have taken a very interesting trajectory. So you went to Denmark, you went to be the assistant coach at Nordsjælland before you later came to do Right to Dream. We'll unpack the Right to Dream bit, because I think there are similarities.
Maybe it's another page, maybe part 2.
There are similarities between what you can do here, what Hearts of Oak needs, and what the structure is at Right to Dream. But what was that experience in Denmark like for a black coach? There's not many of you to start with out there in Europe.
I think there were so many things that came up. I remember I did a podcast, and then I said we're building Africa in Europe.
How dare you?
Yes, but that was what we did. That was what we did, because they tried it, and it was difficult. Gosway was there, Asante, you know, I think Solomon Asante was also there.
So Gosway Donyo?
Yeah, Donyo was there.
I think Solomon Asante.
Yes, Solomon Asante was also there. So it was difficult for us to have more players from the African descent.
When there is a precedence of failure.
Yes, because they were not failures, but they had a lot of challenges, because they were just two. And then you know, Gosway was a big potential, but they had their own challenges. And so behind them, Mumin was there. And when Mumin went, you know, there was a more challenging. Mumin found it difficult to break into the first team. It was when I went there in 2018. Then I went into a consensus with the technical director, Fleman Peterson.
Right.
But now I think he's now a consultant. He became the head coach also. And I said, I think that we need to set Mumin on a loan deal. And I needed to, because it got to a time that, you know, the boys were not happy, because he felt that, you know how it looks like? It looks like you are not trying for me, rather than thinking about I have to try for myself. Yeah. So until I started speaking with them, and then speaking with him to let him know that, look, it's not about someone, it's about you. So don't think that they have to believe in what you are doing. You have to believe in what you are doing. So we took him out on loan. And you know what we did? Sometimes I go to monitor him. So there was one game that I went, he was playing as a right back. And that one he has to move from the academy, from the club hotel, and then find himself to the first division.
Right.
And then I went to watch him in the morning, and then he had come to effect a corner kick, and then
he saw you.
And then he saw me, and then he was like, he was surprised.
He was playing at right back, and he was taking corner kicks.
Because he was a centre back.
Yeah.
But the club he went in, they could only have space to have him to play only as a right back.
But I'm talking about the confidence that they would ask a right back to take a corner kick.
He had strength in kicking.
Right.
So as for set piece, it doesn't matter what position you play. Once you have the ability to do it, you know, you'll be interested to, because it's an individual skill.
But they are rare.
Yeah, yes.
They are rare.
So when he saw me, and then so at the end of the period, I had an individual review with him. Normally we do individual reviews, and then we had a panel to sit around him to make a decision. And I had told him that I have seen you. Your loan deal has changed you. So tell them that when you come back, you fight for position. So normally when you are going to pre-season, you take the loan players along. We went to Spain, La Manga. We went to La Manga for pre-season.
Yeah.
And in the pre-season, he did so well. And then we had a meeting to review. And then it was for him to say that I'll go for a loan again. But from what everyone was talking about, it looks like, okay, the loan was good, it had changed him. Let's consolidate that. But I had talked with him, and I told him that I think he can make it. And it was his decision. So he said he thinks it looks good, the loan was good, and he's back and he feels good. And then he thinks that he can fight for position. You know Abdul Mumin Suleiman, right?
Yeah.
And then they said, well, it's your decision. And the coach said, I cannot guarantee you playing time. Even though we have Europa to play, we have a cup matches to play, and then we have the league. So there are matches to be played. So I said, it's a good decision, so now let's work. So I did an individual development plan with him. what he has to improve on technically, tactically, and then mentally, and then physically. So technically, he needed to improve on his left foot diagonal kicks. So I said, I'll help you with that. So every training session, 10 minutes, just like you saw us do set pieces, 10 minutes, we'll do those ones. So in the game, I'll set out, checks. How many diagonal kicks did you make? First half, okay, you did 2. 3, you did 3. 2 found the target. 1 didn't go. So why did you not make that target? He has to say it. Okay, my touch was poor. Okay,
the angle,
the angle or the touch was too long. I didn't visualize to connect with the runner. So it has a mental inclination. So he realized that everybody saw that he was growing. So I remember when I met his agent, I told his agent that Mumin would be good for the EPL if he has a chance of playing 1 more year in the Danish league and become the best player, the best centre back, because he was playing we had a player who was playing in the national team.
Right.
He was playing with him. So if he's playing the national team and you were playing with him and you were better technically, what does it mean to you? So he left to FC Copenhagen. So now you are now left. So I told him that next year you should be the best centre back in the Danish league. Then you can go to EPL. But he left to Portugal. So this was the trajectory. So there were so many things that I brought into Nordjylland. So now it was for me. So I'm explaining the reasons why I said we were to build Africa into Europe, because we're now bringing in African control in the European land. So you have to acknowledge that you are bringing Africa in a small way, but very importantly. So behind him, then now Mumin Kudus came, then Kamaldeen came, and then Nyama came, and then Diomande Kudus came with Ibrahim Sadiq, So and I was with them. So I instituted what I call the transitional processes, which has to do with integration and adaptation. So in Nordjylland, they began to understand that transition is not just about just bringing the player. It's about knowing the player's background. So every 3 months, I'll come to Africa, go to Cote d'Ivoire, go to Kudus's home, go to Kamaldeen's home, go to Isaac Atange's home in Donkonta. Do you know that? I went to all these remote places to understand their backgrounds, so that I can be able to and I brought some of the coaches there, take them to these remote places for them to acknowledge. When they saw Isaac Atange's family, the mother was still carrying a baby. They were his younger brothers, so many of them, where they live. So when you are handling the person, you really will handle the person with decorum. So they will understand how these boys from Africa come. In Cote d'Ivoire, I had Adamo Nagalo, now playing for Burkina. I had Mohamed Diomande. I had Lasso Koulibaly. A lot of this.
Diomande is a kid at Sporting Lisbon now.
No, he was in Rangers.
Right, yeah.
In Rangers.
So that's a different
Yes, in Mohamed Diomande.
But the success rates for what you did, and I like the nomenclature. You call it a transition program.
Yes,
because
and it was huge.
I don't think one club has had this success rate of African players moving in.
There was a lot of work, honestly.
And all of them getting into mainstream
honestly,
European clubs.
when I tell you, sometimes when I speak about it, I'm very emotional in a very good way, because I sacrificed my life. I sacrificed my family to make it happen. Yes. Because I saw that, no, these boys, Kudus and Co, they need to function, because it was a big challenge. It was a big challenge. Food was a challenge. The weather was a challenge. The language was a challenge. And tactically, there was a challenge. But I have to be on the pitch, and so I have to coach them in Hausa, in Frafra, in Chi. Speak with them in a language that they can connect with the technical and tactical import. And I never said I was tired during COVID. Myself and Isaac Atanga, and then Ibrahim Sadiq and Kudus, but then Kudus had left to Ayaz, and then this guy Abu Francis. I have to be doing individual sessions with them, a lot of work, to be there, just to make sure that they can find the breakthroughs.
I think of all of the boys that you touched, from Abu, Kudus, Sadiq, Husseini, Osman, Kamaldeen, all of them are in the Black Stars.
Including Caleb. Caleb was with my younger brother. Look, when they were preparing for the 2023, 2022 Gotia.
Yeah.
I was a technical director then. We applied for visas, and then 8 of them were denied. You know those who were denied? Stephen Akwa, Baba Isaku, Caleb Amankwa. No, Caleb was denied. Mohammed Arafat was denied.
How?
Yes, because they had not traveled yet. Right. So 8 of them, including my son, and these boys will come in groups to come in my house to come of getting the visa. How would you have thought? I asked them, I said, please be honest with me. I want honesty and we'll learn from this. And one of them told me, we would have thought that because he's your son. But I said, but you see, he didn't also get. So you see that it was not made to happen.
Yeah.
Because if the embassy would challenge my son's age, and then he's my son, and I'm the one, and I'm the technical director and head of football there, and I'm the one for them to call and ask. The only thing I could tell the embassy that, but how can I manipulate
falsify the age of
manipulate my own son's age, and then you are calling me? Look at my name. He's carrying my own names. So that is his age.
If you look at all of the players who have made it to the Black Stars, different clubs, who has surprised you the most? Have you been surprised by any?
No.
They always had it.
Of course.
They all had it.
I knew how I brought Kudus to the Black Stars. I think that was 2019.
Yeah.
After
Welcome back to the AM show. It's the holiday edition, and wherever you are, thanks for choosing us to be part of your holiday morning. Now, time for us to go into what the portals, the news portals are reporting today, and to help us do this, I have Musah Dankwa. He's a lawyer and spokesperson for Movement for Change. Andrew, hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm doing great yourself.
And sorry to you and your team.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a very, very terrible news from Spain, really.
Yeah, this week has been really tough for me personally. On Sunday, I lost a very good friend who passed for a brother, and then only to wake up to this tragic news about Diogo Jota yesterday, as a player I really respected, as in terms of not just for his abilities as a footballer, but what he represents as a man, as a human being, so what he did also for his community. So yeah, it was tragic, but I wish he and his family, my condolences. And I think for the Liverpool family, like they say, we would never walk alone.
Anyway, all right. I also have here Kwame Nkrumah, he's General Secretary of the CPP and a lawyer as well. Kwame.
Good morning, my brother.
Welcome.
Thank you. And my condolences to the Liverpool supporters. My brother, Papa Kojo Botio, he's an avid Liverpool supporter. Okay. But I am Chelsea.
Oh.
Still, it's sad news, and we send them our condolences.
Yes, my director is telling me I am Manchester. Yes, I am Manchester.
Which of them?
Oh,
which of them?
There's only one Manchester, really. There's proper one. No. Manchester is owned by one king, and then there's a prince.
But you know, Manchester City is the team for the.
No. Yes. As in they are in the city center. Yes,
proper city.
No, but in terms of team that has brought glory to Manchester, it is us. Yeah, it is us. We are
16th.
Say again.
16th.
Yeah, 16th.
We what? All right. every team has some period where you look. We are the most successful club out of England.
No, it's not true.
Who is?
The fact goes over that.
Why? Who?
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
20 times champions of England, 6 times champions of Europe.
And then FA Cup.
Listen, so in fact, in the totality of the trophies, you won way more trophies than you.
How?
Yeah, go and check. As in, you have your.
Okay. No, I'll do it. Yeah. But I disagree on the Facebook.
You have your internet.
I won't check the internet.
Just
we are the most successful club out of it.
No, just fact check. This is a matter of fact.
It's the reason I never wanted you to win the 20. Right? Anyway, let me give you 2 minutes for you to talk about what you want to talk about before we go into what the papers are reporting here.
Okay. I'll start with a quote by Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He said, "We are not only fighting for ourselves, but for the whole of humanity." With that in mind, I would want to commend 3 bodies. First of all, the Food and Beverages Association, the Greater Accra Ghana Bar Association, and also Honorable Sam George. The Food and Beverages Association says that they are going to have another round of reduction in prices of produce, and the Ghana Bar Association to organize something to assist those on remand at the prisons. And also, I think they are doing this in conjunction with the Legal Aid Board. And Honorable Sam George, too, I think gave us some information about the arrest of about 400 people involved in romance scams. And I think all these go to advance the cause of humanity. When prices drop, everybody is happy, especially our neighbors who are struggling with school fees and all that. They're able to save something to use on that. And with the Ghana Bar Association, when you have such outreach in legal aid to those on remand and other things, it also helps because legal service is expensive, of course. Running a law firm is not easy. Being a legal practitioner itself is an expensive venture. And sometimes you want to assist as many people as possible, but it is not possible. You will shut down. So kudos to the Ghana Bar Association, Food and Beverages Association, and also Honorable Sam George. I personally know one old lady in the States who was a Facebook friend who inboxed me about a certificate that a young man had sent her, that he had won a case in court and needed some money. And she confessed that she was in her 70s. And she confessed that she was involved with this young man.
Okay.
And when she sent me the, I said, no, this is not coming from the courts of Ghana. This is nothing close to a court document. And so I'd advised her to cut links with this young man. Unfortunately, not long after, she passed away.
Oh.
So there are many such stories. The romance scams, we may see the flashy cars and other things on the surface, but there are people dying behind the scenes. And it's a good thing that we are clamping down on these romance scams, as it's all related to communication and online, using online facilities. And they all advance the cause of humanity. Osajifo, even though he spoke a lot about Ghana and Africa, his focus was the whole of humanity. And anything that advances the cause of your neighbor is a good thing.
You know, once you spoke about the fraud thing, yesterday I got an email advising me to do something with that number on my EcoBank account, and that if I don't do it, I won't have access to my ATM and you know, the online banking platform. But something didn't seem right with it. So I just copied the email and sent it to a friend of mine in the bank who works at the head office and said, "Did you guys send me this?" His response was, "No, we haven't sent you this. This is not coming from us."
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay. If I had followed through, imagine what could have happened.
Exactly.
Then later in the day, about I think around 3 p.m. or so, this same number calls me that I'm calling from EcoBank. But know, just because I'd had that notice from EcoBank, I knew that this guy was a fraud.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, what do you want? I'm calling from EcoBank head office and we want you to blah, blah. If you don't do it, we'll block your order. I said, why do you always do that? If you want to defraud people, be intelligent enough to know the caliber of people you want to defraud.
Yeah.
Because if you send it to someone like me, I probably have done some of my checks to know that you're a fraudster. If you send it to my grandmother, you may get her.
Yes.
But for someone like me, he just called me with a very bad English, wanting to tell me that you are from EcoBank head office. I mean, so this thing, and imagine if they were successful to take away the money in my account.
Yeah.
Then you pick it out.
Exactly.
That's what they do. Look, the same fraud they used to do, they will call you that we're calling from this telco. If you don't want to help you reset, by the time you finish resetting that password they want you to, they would have, pushed all the monies away. So really, I'm happy that they are doing something about it. But there's a lot more people who are into that, and they have to help us.
Exactly.
Thank God the FBI is helping them too.
Yeah.
But the local authorities should also up their game. Because this guy who called me yesterday, I'm sure he's operating from one of the cells around.
Yeah.
So,
So after you caught him, did he let you go scot-free? No insults for you.
Oh, I insulted him.
No insults for you because you are the one catching him.
No. As soon as I started raining, I said, okay, thank you.
So you were very lucky.
Me, I would have, if he wanted to trade, I would have traded one for him. Because you see, anytime I see that, I become angry.
Yeah.
That you won't work, someone works so hard. Look, sometimes I come here in the morning, I leave in the night.
Yeah.
Then I make my small kwacha. And you want to use some dubious ways to come for it.
Yeah.
Put me aside. Some older lady may probably hustle to get some 200 Ghana, 500. Sometimes a son or a daughter has sent her some thousands of this. And some foolish boy, forgive me for my word, somewhere will use a phone and dupe this old woman of that money.
Yeah.
Why do we do this to ourselves? You won't work. Someone will go and struggle. You go and steal it. And you kill people in the process of that.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't know what can change. But if the arrest can solve it, they should arrest all of them. And we had a chat with someone from MTN last year where he explained the modus operandi of these guys. He says they went to Cape Coast, they followed a trail and went to Cape Coast. Look, they are operating in a room like this with a lot of computers. People walking to come and like they're coming to work. And when they come, you have several numbers on a sheet and you have to call them to see which one you can dupe. So some people too, they've used that as their work. So for you, your work is to call about 200 numbers in a day and see which of them will fall for your trick. And if you're able to claim some 500, imagine if they make 500 cities from 10 clients. That's 5,000 cities for the day for one person. If they have 20 computers in the room, that's mind-boggling, really. Anyway, lawyer.
Yeah, so let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning. Wish my brother Kwame Nkrumah, I call him Musah Dankwa. Wish yourself a good morning. I think my thoughts are linked to the significance of today. I think today is 4th July, but today is the day that we decided to celebrate our Republic Day. And I think it was after that my brother Kwame Nkrumah started by quoting the words of Musah Dankwa himself. Also, today is 4th July. That's the Independence Day of the USA. And that when you study sociology, there are 4 revolutions that they make you study, and one of them is the American Revolution and what it stands for. Because it was on this day that they made that famous statement that these truths are self-evident, and then God has granted us an inalienable right to life, to our liberties, and to pursue our own happiness. And that's the significance of our republic. And because of the potential or the ideals or the values or the promise of this republic, which essentially, in our opinion, was the best system that could guarantee for us our right to our own lives, our right to our liberties, our right to pursue our own happiness, the signals of sin. So today, as we reflect on 1st July and on this amazing gift that Osagyefo himself led and won for the people of Ghana, that we guard it with all we have, that we make sure that the promise of our Republican status is fulfilled, that the people into whose hands the people, you understand, have placed this noble trust, that's the politicians, do not behave in a manner that will undermine the purpose for which we fought for and won this status, which God himself had already granted us. And in that light, I wish to condemn, in no certain terms, the content of the press conference that the NPP held, where they were threatening chaos for Ghana in 2028. You understand? We should. They did a press conference in response to the EC's decision, and I heard portions of that statement, and they are more or less promising chaos.
I thought they said they were being caught.
But they use the word chaos, that future elections, if not, would put, you understand? And because of the significance of our Republican status, because of our checkered history in guarding this status, because we've lost this status and have reclaimed it 4 times. In fact, I've reclaimed it 3 times, because we won the first time, then we've reclaimed it 3 times. That we do all in our power as Ghanaians first, and 2, as political actors, to ensure that 1, we create a system that will guarantee us this status, this Republican status. You understand? That 2, we do not do anything. We cannot find, or we should not find any justification for why we behave in a manner that would cause us to potentially lose this status. Because in all its weakness, this still represents the best system in which all of our individual ambitions can find a place in. And so for me, that's my reflection for the day. And the fact, and I do not take it for granted, that it falls also on the 4th of July, and what 4th of July represents. So let all of us come together. Let's reflect on this status, and let's build that strong nation, country, where everything, all of our ambitions, our economic ambitions, our political ambitions, our religious ambitions, where our personal dreams can find a place in.
Just before we wrap up this, I think I found the message that the guy sent me. So let me read it so that if someone also sees it, they will know. Now, they write validation in progress. And they say, due to a planned system update on the EcoBank platform, all valued customers are reminded to revalidate their account by submitting a valid copy of the ECOWAS GH card and ATM via ecobank.ebanking.77@gmail.com. Services such as the mobile application, USSD, and ATM will be unavailable, failure to be validated. Contact or respond to us on 233-27-9436-239. So it's 0279-43-6239. Only for immediate assistance. Your credentials are secured, sharing to our representatives. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. So when I saw this, I just copied it to my guy at the EcoBank and said, oh, this is not coming from us. And in fact, I just realized that they've even pushed that mail into my spam, which means that Gmail themselves are suspecting that this isn't a good one. So if you receive anything like this, please be careful. They are scammers. They will call you with the same number and try to get you to, lose some money of yours. Anyway, let's get into onto what the news portals are reporting. Let's start with My Joy Online, and the banner headline: New Supreme Court judges pledge fairness, acknowledge family support. once all of you are lawyers, it's good. I would let you go into this. Again, UPSA condemns staff misconduct in viral altercation with student. And now serve as stewards of justice, not arbiters of technicalities. Mahama charges new Supreme Court justices. Agrada jailed 15 years, and yesterday, my God, I mean, social media was agog with Agrada and how people were going to miss her. And I just couldn't. I was like, wow, is this how popular the woman is? Anyway, this robe is not simply a mark of office. Wear it with wisdom. Mahama urges newly sworn in Supreme Court justices. And Daman Mine, 3 NPP MPs drag government to court over unconstitutional Abosso Goldfields lease deal. And don't launch policies and hide document upon Kroma to government as a Mobwatin's eyes MPP chairmanship position. Now, a bit on the new Supreme Court judges pledge fairness and acknowledge family says that Justice Senor Jamefe, one of the 7 new justices sworn into Ghana Supreme Court on Thursday, has on behalf of his colleague justices assured Ghanaians of the court's unwavering commitment to justice. Speaking on behalf of his fellow appointees after the swearing-in ceremony presided over by President John Dramani Mahama, Justice Jamefe pledged that the new justices would serve without fear or favor. Yeah, let me start with you.
Yes, yesterday was a good day. I think it was sworn in yesterday.
Yes, yes.
And I have said before that I have appeared before some of the judges. They all know their work. Before anybody can get to the bench, it is a long journey. It is a long journey, and it takes a lot of commitment, hard work, intelligence, and integrity. And I commend His Excellency for selecting them, and I also congratulate them. And I'm happy they are being added to the Supreme Court bench. Our Supreme Court, in my experience, I've done a few cases there. I would say that it's compared to Supreme Courts in other jurisdictions. They deal with a wide number of cases. In a lot of jurisdictions, the Supreme Court only deals with constitutional cases. And some of them, they deal with only constitutional cases. But in our jurisdiction, they deal with constitutional cases. They deal with appellate cases. And they also deal with cases where it involves, well, mostly interpretation of the Constitution. So I'll say that the workload is very huge there, and I'm happy that they have been sworn in, and they all have a lot of experience. Okay. His Lordship, Justice Senor Jamefe, JSC, he is the longest serving judge in Ghana.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think he...
The longest serving judge.
Yes, yes. I think he ascended to the bench in 1988. Yes.
Hey, and he wasn't at the Supreme Court?
No.
Wow.
In 1988. So that is about 37 years or so. So that's a lot of experience. We have Justice Subaye, Justice Battels, all of them. We look forward to them continuing to contribute to Ghana's jurisprudence as they have done when they were at the appeal court and in the other courts. It's exciting times for Ghana. As I have said on many instances, and even in 2015, Ghana in the Eyes of God, Anas's expose, I was captured in that expose saying that Ghana's judiciary is more or less quite strong, to paraphrase, compared to other jurisdictions. If you look at the book of Proverbs, King Solomon said that I saw at the seat of justice a lot of evil. And in a lot of jurisdictions, it's like that. But I would say that, fortunately, in Ghana, the fear of God is in the judiciary to a large extent, especially at the Supreme Court. Occasionally, when I have some free time, I go there to observe proceedings. And then one of His Lordships says something very instructive when a lawyer had appeared and had not done their work well. Okay. He admonished the lawyer that from here, you go to God. So when you're coming here, make sure you've done your work well. And that is the truth. From the Supreme Court, you go to God. Because you can appeal from district court all the way to Supreme Court. After Supreme Court rules, where else do you go? That is it. That is the end of your case. He said, from here, you go to God. So when you're coming here, do your work well so that you can get a ruling in your favor. So I think the justices they are well trained. They have their integrity. And we, the legal practitioners, we also have to do all that we have to do in order to make their work easy and make everything, justice delivery easy for all Ghanaians. And I think His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama said that they should be arbiters of justice and, to paraphrase, not rule over technicalities. It's a good call. It's a good call. But, however, to add to that, sometimes those technicalities are, as one judge said, he said the technicalities are a handmaiden and not a mistress. They are not the fulcrum. They are not the primary focus of the suit, but they assist the suit to move well. Okay. So I would admonish my fellow legal practitioners that, taking a cue from what His Excellency has said, also do your work very well so you are not caught in technicalities. Because some of the technicalities are there to ensure fair play. You understand me? And sometimes you may have a very good case, but you are caught in a fundamental technicality that can destroy your whole case. So let us lend our support to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's call that we should look at the merits of the cases and not the technicalities, meaning that the justices should not unduly use technicalities to collapse cases that may be good, but it behoves on we, the legal practitioners, to make sure that we do our work well so that we make the work of their lordships easy, so that they don't have to exercise that discretion to throw away your case because of technicalities, because you cannot always ignore the technicalities. Some are fundamental.
Okay.
That's what
now, Justice Jamefe, when he was speaking yesterday, said something, and we says, on reflecting on the wait for elevation, he recalled the persistent questions from his children. Quote, "Daddy, how come your name hasn't been on the list?" Unquote. With gratitude, he added, quote, "Today, that question is over. Yeah. Our names are there now," unquote. Now, wouldn't this make him have some soft spot for the regime that made him a Supreme Court judge? And mustn't that probably make us look at the appointment of justices to the Supreme Court now that we are trying to, amend our constitution?
Not necessarily. I think the appointment of the justice to the Supreme Court is not done by just the executive. It's a combination of the executive and the legislature. I think we need to add that that burden to appoint judges should also include some form of merit, or we should find a way of creating that culture of
a meritocracy or meritocratic system
within, because as much as by law is the executive acting in concert with Parliament that appoints judges, they always need to understand that they are using those powers that really belong to us. And so because they're using powers that belong to the people, then in how they take those decisions must have some kind of legitimacy. And they only get the legitimacy, that's acceptance of the people, if we find a way of building some kind of meritocracy into the appointment process. Because a lot of the judges that are not just justice, Jamefe. But I'm surprised a lot of the judges His Excellency Nwama has appointed were not already at the Supreme Court. Take somebody like Sir Dennis. I can't believe that I had to take all this while for Sir Dennis before.
Listening to him at the vetting, he came across as a very knowledgeable,
very experienced. Talk about this judge was a general jurisdiction. He was the one they tried to block his.
Just
another very sharp judge.
So maybe there should be a way of progression into the system, such that when you know you hit here, you're moving from there.
Exactly. It should be automatic.
And that's what I'm saying. We should find a way of building some merit into the system. You understand? I don't have an issue with the appointment procedure as it stands now. But you see, we are questioning it because the people we give our powers to have not managed to do their work as they ought to. You understand? Because we are doing is a political position. You are sponsored by a party, but you are voted by the people of Ghana. And so our leaders always ought to understand that when they ascend to the presidency or when they go into parliament, their core obligation is to Ghana, not necessarily to their parties. You understand? Is an issue that they need to rise above and serve the country as against serving the interests of their parties. And so for me, I honestly don't have an issue with the fact that the appointment is done by the president and the executive, except that we need to, because whoever you give that power to appoint to, if the person lacks integrity, well, that system can also lack integrity. We will still be faced with the same issue. But having said that, I just want to comment briefly on what the president said, which is a profound statement. That it should be driven by justice and not mere technicalities. Both, you see, I think there was a case in which they defined justice as that justice is by the law. So one, justice emanates from the people, one, and two, justice is per the law. Same for the technicalities. They're also law. Because the technicalities are the rules of procedure. And the rules of procedure are law. Yes, and Kwame Nkrumah did a fantastic job. Because what the technicalities, what they do is that they aid in advancing justice. The aid in it was the rule of procedure was that you should do discovery. What's the essence? We don't want anyone to come and spring any surprise on the other party. So what the president said was profound. I think it can engender some kind of debate. But in the words of the CJ, Justice Tokonu, you can make all the noise you want. The law is still the law, because justice must be according to the law, and the technicalities are also according to the law. So I think the key there is that they should always be faithful to the tenets of the law in all its intents and its purposes, in terms of both its spirit and its letter at all times. And they should always understand that their call, because to be a judge is a call. So you understand, it's a call, and their fidelity should always be to the purpose of that call. Also, finally, to also add, and I agree with Kwame, as in, because of the extent of the jurisdiction of our Supreme Court, because they have original jurisdiction in some cases, they have appellate jurisdiction, they have review jurisdiction, they have supervisory jurisdiction. Maybe we can have a rethink as to the issue of their numbers, or as to whether or not we should take some of the jurisdictions from them. Because like you rightly said, in certain jurisdictions, the Supreme Court just deals with constitutional issues, but here there's so many.
But one of them is this Justice
Dennis.
Was he the one who was proposing that we should establish Supreme Court up north? One Supreme Court up north to take care of the northern sector of the country. If that happens, you need more Supreme Court judges.
So that be so that's against what we are saying. Idea, well, it's up for debate. And that's why
people have to travel long distance.
But for the travel long distance, because they're dealing with issues that probably where the appellate jurisdiction of the court, normal civil, because in our normal civil criminal cases, because the Supreme Court also have appellate jurisdiction, it goes all the way. If we can find a way in which we restrict the jurisdiction to interpretation, to review, to their supervisory jurisdiction, and then allow, let's say, probably appeal courts to deal with your regular civil appeals. We
have to probably look at the rules as well.
Because there's been a time in our history where the Supreme Court was not dealing with appeals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you understand?
All right.
So we can.
Well, from the Supreme Court, let's look at another issue that has to do with the courts and with the popular evangelist, Mama Grada. Now, Patricia Asiedua, and this is on ajoonline.com. Patricia Asiedua, popularly known as Nana Grada, a former traditional priestess turned evangelist, has been sentenced to 15 years imprisonment by the Circuit Court in Accra. The sentence follows her conviction for charlatanic advertisements and obtaining money by false pretenses. Nana Grada was found guilty of deceiving victims during a televised broadcast in 2022, where she falsely claimed to have spiritual powers capable of doubling money. Many individuals were persuaded to part with large sums, hoping for miraculous financial returns that never came. The court's decision is seen as a major victory in the fight against fraudulent spiritual schemes and dishonest religious practices. Well, you're all lawyers. Let me bring in another lawyer, and then we can have this conversation. Nana Kofi Safo Kantanka is a lawyer. Nana, grateful to you for joining us. Now, many people have argued on social media that this seemed to be high-handedness. I mean, what's your view of this judgment? Now, can you unmute so we hear what you're telling us? Okay. Let me come into the studio. When we get him, we'll bring him. Yeah. But let me start with you, Lawyer Botio. I mean, a lot of people say, okay, let me try Safo again. Safo, do I have you now?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Good, I can hear you now, yes. If you heard my question, can you go on?
Yes, yes, let me take this opportunity to greet all our viewers and listeners this morning. My quick view, although my view is based on what we heard from the snipers we've heard from the court reports, but we haven't had the benefit of reading the full judgment. Yes, so what we heard from the snipers from the court report. What we heard is that she was charged with on two charges. Two charges were leveled against her. That's defrauding by false pretense and then charlatanic advertisements. And then on the defrauding by false pretense, per Act 29 and Section 131, it's a second-degree felony. And then also what we heard snipers from the report is that some of the charges were not proven. And by this, we are assuming is the charlatanic advertisement, because when you look at the defrauding by false pretenses, which is a second-degree felony, and by Section 131, the punishment for the offense is between not less than 10 years and not more than 25 years. So per the range, so we are assuming the punishment was based on the defrauding by false pretenses, of which she was given 15 years by the courts. So based on this, there are people who are happy with the judgment. Some are also not happy with the judgment. 15 years, well, one may say it's harsh, but then punishment, the jurisprudence of punishment is not, it's by the range, is by the discretion of the court. But then punishments by the jurisprudence of criminal law is not, you have so many forms, purpose of punishment. It can be that the judge wanted this one to serve as a deterrence for the so many charlatanic advertisements ongoing by some persons. Some are private individuals, some are also religious persons. So to serve as deterrence to those engaged in such practices, so that these practices can be dealt with. So it can be in the form of deterrence. So if you ask me, I would say it's okay. It's okay. It's okay for her. But then, however, the road is not shut for her. There can always be an avenue for appeal at the High Court. So if you ask me, these are my preliminary comments on the judgment in respect of this case.
Okay. I'm grateful, but so you say that she can appeal this, right?
Yes. She can. She can always appeal. And then for her liberty, she can appeal at the High Court, and during the appeal, a bail application can be put in by her lawyers, and then she can be granted bail pending the hearing of the appeal. And then, but for now, as far as the judgment has been passed and she has been sentenced, she remains within the confines of the police, either prison custody or anywhere, until the next process is taken. And although we are in July, next month we'll be going on vacation. The courts will still be working. The court will still be working. There will be vacation judges and vacation courts who will sit. So the road is not shut for her. She can still appeal. And then, but the only thing is that appeal is by way of rehearing. So it's risky. So it can either come down or it can also go up. Because if you go on appeal and then you can't also substantiate your grounds well, or you don't have enough grounds, it can be also the wasting of the court's time. So since the range is between 10 and 25, it can go up, it can also come down.
Okay. All right. I'm grateful to you, Nana Kofi Sir, for joining us here. Now, let me come into the studio, and you two are all lawyers. Lawyer Bochi, let me come to you.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, because prison is not a good thing for anybody. As a legal practitioner, at the law faculty, at the law school, we visited the prisons many times. And as somebody whose grandfather was a freedom fighter, all the way from 1947 to 1977, a period of 30 years, he was in and out of prison, including being sentenced to death. But fortunately, it wasn't carried out. And anytime I go to Nsawam and I'm shown the condemned cells where he was, it brings back memories. And I know his beloved wife, Ruth Botsio, and other family members. His time in and out of prison was not easy. Anyone who is sent away, it won't be easy on their families. At the same time, to those complainants who have been affected, it will not be easy on them either. So the law has to take its course. But I would pray that as time goes on, we can find other ways of punishment. We can find other ways of punishment. And also this charlatanic advertisement thing. As somebody who has been to Bible school and been to seminary and almost became a priest, when I hear things like this, sometimes my heart sleeps a bit. I remember when the law was passed, or there was an announcement that 31st night there couldn't be prophecies.
Was the IGP who wrote
time, yes.
To the...
Yes. I was a bit divided, but later on I saw the wisdom in what he said, and I realized that there was a lot of sense in what he said, because Ghanaians are spiritual people. They are people of faith, but you shouldn't abuse, that's people's faith, because people laugh at Ghanaians that everything fama nyame, but that is what has contributed to the peace in this country. There's a verse in the Bible that says, "Deliver us from wicked and unreasonable men, because not all men have faith." That means that anybody without faith is wicked and unreasonable, because he knows that he believes there is no supreme being who will step into the situation to work it out. So he wants to work things out through their own power, whether by fair or by foul means, without taking into consideration humanity and faith. I have not read the judgment, but from what I have read about the money doubling, I would say that it could be the grounds for such a charge. somebody would say that, but in the Bible, we had people bringing their handkerchiefs to come and lay on for Paul to pray over, and they'll lay over the sick people and they'll get healed. That is what at the seminary they taught us is known as tokens.
Even Jesus himself.
Exactly.
Someone brought some 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes.
And he multiplied it.
Exactly.
So these things are biblical. But there's a thin line. Jesus' own was born out of necessity. The people were hungry. The town was far away. He collected the 5 loaves and 2 fish, and he had it multiplied, and many other miracles. However, when you advertise on authority that bring your money and I'll double it for you, and 3 years down the line, the money has not been doubled. If the facts I have read are as happened, then you can say that it indeed ventures into the arena of charlatanic practice. And these things, these charges, I find them very serious, because if they become one too many, then people like us, who are politicians and legal practitioners, but are also men of faith, then we realize that we are at risk of having our freedom of religion enshrined under the Constitution trampled upon. So it's a very, very delicate balance. I look forward to reading the judgments, but it's also a call on all people of faith that in practicing your faith, be like the Berean church, where in Acts 17:11, it says that now the Bereans were more noble-minded than the Thessalonians, for they received the message with great eagerness, and this is the important part, and examined the scriptures to see whether what was said was true. If you do not examine the scriptures as a Christian, that is when you fall foul of people who claim they can double your money. And also, as a person of faith, if you do not examine the scriptures, that is when the, let's say, the vagaries of the economy and the fact that you have to pay school fees and feed your children can lead you to do or say things that do not align with the word of God. So it's a call to everyone, no matter their faith, whether of the Islamic faith, the traditional faith, the Christian faith, the Hindu faith, the Buddhist faith. Make sure that you know your code very well, so that you don't allow your human instinct to make you throw away all empathy and take advantage of your fellow man. So as I said, I look forward to seeing it. And as Nana Safo Kantanka said, she can actually apply for bail pending appeal. And she can also appeal. She can appeal both against the sentence or the conviction or both. And it's as he said, sometimes it serves as a deterrent, because when, unfortunately, the price you pay for fame is that sometimes you have to be used as the one to be set as an example for everyone to toe the line.
Now, Dankwa, if you read her stories, it says that she advertised that she has the spiritual powers of doubling money. Some people bought into the idea, sent the monies, and she couldn't deliver. I mean, I thought that, well, I didn't know where our laws could, but our laws have proven that they can. But there are a lot of them on TV.
You see,
saying they can really do it.
This is similar to what we spoke before we started.
The echo bag.
Yeah, because we are in Ghana here.
Defrauding.
The people in Ghana, we are at a huge risk in this country, because you see, a typical Ghanaian has to protect himself or herself against the evils of cyber crime. People want to use IT to take your money away. At the same time, you also have to deal with spiritual thieves. People want to use spirits as spiritual, the fact that you are spiritual, the fact that we believe in God and other spirits, to steal money from you. And I'm talking this way because as things stands today, she's a convict.
Yes.
She's gone through the mill. The courts have held that the allegations against her are true. And you see, we shouldn't play with this. Me, I support them. I think even the 50 years, they've been very charitable to I lie to you, they've been very charitable. Because you see, we spoke about our republican nature. We spoke about the Constitution. And what's the purpose of the Constitution? So when I spoke the words of the American Constitution, we hold this to be self-evident that all men are created equal and that they have the right to. Now, when you know the foundation for government, the social contract, Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and all the philosophers that wrote about the social contract, the idea was that when you leave man in this natural state, because of the chaotic nature, and because of the fact that there is no law and then we are all sovereign, and the fact that in that state, people who are stronger, people who may be smarter, you understand, can use their powers to deny you of your right to your life, of your right to your property, and perhaps of your right to your liberties. And so let's give our powers to central to some government, so that government will protect and guarantee us our right to our life, our right to our liberties, our right to our properties. And that's how we form government. That's why we gave, for other reasons, to have a government that also then secure for our liberties. We say let's separate the powers of government, and that's the basis for we even having judges, so that they can use the powers that we've given them to protect our properties. And philosophically, one of the reasons for punishment is deterrence. Because how can you use the powers we've granted you to best secure for us our properties? People go and sweat, work hard. In 3 years, someone for compromise journey. Then somebody said somewhere, say that to me, I have a fetish. Bring your money, I'll double for you. Listen, we can't continue to create this society. Because you see, the problem is, and we're all men of faith. At least.
He was at SU rep. When we were in secondary school, he was SU rep for Jebeg House.
Oh, okay. I'm still man of faith. I'm not a nominal Christian. I'm a born again Christian.
Okay.
Yes. You understand? They undermine people's belief and trust in the abiding powers of God through Jesus Christ. That's what they do. You understand? So, listen, she has a right to appeal under our law. She can go and have her appeal. But as of today, she's a convict.
Yeah.
You've taken her through the mail, and the courts have held that the allegations made against her are true. We shouldn't give her, listen to her lawyer. You see, we shouldn't give the impression that she had that 15 years because she's a celebrity. Even in this country, we just dash the term celebrity by heart. Also, when you're a celebrity, you are being celebrated. Yeah. It's not the fact that you appear on TV or you appear on social media, come and say, oh man, off. Because of that, you're a celebrity. Is it not the same person? Is it not the same woman that Musah has an issue with?
Yeah.
Who had the audacity to go and, Hobson uses, the wife uses her number plate, Nuku.
Okay.
Nuku.
Yes.
Nuku. On the number plate.
Yeah.
Registered. Nuku, N-O-K-U.
Okay.
Registered. You can do specialized number plates. And this one has also gone and then she's prepared for herself the same Nuku, except that we are yet to determine whether or not that her Nuku came from DVLA. I'm sure if the Pandora's box is open and people bring their issues, it will be a different matter.
On her?
I'm telling you. It will be a different matter. You understand? You see, we are building a system. We've spoken about fairness, about justice, but justice also dictates that when somebody has labored and has acquired property, then that property ought to be protected by the state. Yeah, I suppose we are talking about justice, but what about the person?
No, but you carried it. Nobody forced you.
No, she advertised. No, you see what the guy wanted to do to you. But you see what the guy wanted to do to you. So let's say the guy. Let's say the guy succeeded. Well, you see, consent. You need one of the key elements in procuring somebody's property in a manner that won't be seen to be stealing is where the person has given the property to you, as or you got the property through the consent of the person.
Yeah.
You see what the guy wanted to do to you?
Yeah.
The guy wanted to procure your consent to part with the property through fraud. So it's not about you willingly giving a guy that procured the consent of people through fraud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through fraud. You tell them that this have powers to double and play on the inherent greed of the human mind. You understand? No, we can't allow that to happen. You see, you see the spirit.
Why mustn't you also be dealing with the greed?
Listen, you see the FBI.
Greed is relative.
Exactly.
We all invest.
You can be greedy. You can be greedy, and that greed can fuel you to even work harder. Some people are doing 3 shifts, 4 shifts.
Yes.
They are being fueled by greed.
That is what they want to.
But it's not impacting on my property. You understand? You understand? So if your greed will cause you to work harder and get your own money, I don't have an issue with it.
Yes, indeed.
But if your greed will cause you to tell people, you understand, that bring your money, I'll turn it to Gary, money like Gary, I have an issue with you. You see this FBI thing. The FBI, they clamp down on this country. Listen, there's a fundamental problem with our country. As I said, one country, you need to deal with people trying to use IT to beat you. You know, I recently heard about the word settings. You know, I didn't understand the meaning of the word settings.
Settings.
But how can you build a country on settings? So there's spiritual settings. There's spiritual settings to beat you. And then there's physical settings to beat you. And there's IT settings to beat you. Why?
Wherever
you turn settings. If you slack, if you do... you know, I love Ejako. There's one of Ejako's movies. If you do... They'll finish you. Listen, the 15 years is a dash. I'm telling you. Hey. Give me the 20 years.
Wow.
Yes. And you know what is interesting about, I think both you said it, about going on appeal. If you go on appeal and you don't do your matters well, they'll increase the sentence.
Okay.
I've experienced that before.
Yeah.
There was a case at appeal where the guy first that job goes and rapes somebody's, defile, not rape, defiles somebody's daughter. The person who had given him employment, I think they gave him 15 years also. They gave him 15. You know, for the farmer, I think it's 7 years to 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they gave him 15 years. Then he went on appeal. After listening to the appeal, they increased it to 20 years.
Oh.
Yes. So, you see, it's not about she being, I don't even consider her to be a celebrity. She being a popular figure. You understand? But there's a need for us to have a society where the chances of people losing their monies as a result to settings in all its forms and shapes, whether IT settings, whether physical settings and spiritual. And the most dangerous one is the spiritual settings.
Yeah.
The most dangerous one is the spiritual settings. And because you are spiritual, and even the way we speak, as to how nobody questions it. You understand? All we know is that Onyesika. You understand? And they are using, I love the word charlatanic. Come on.
Is there in a criminal code? It's hardly used, but it's there.
I like using the word charlatan. So I was using on NPP.
But so if that is there, why are we not going after the television channels who are also always advertising this?
Exactly.
The
NCA
should
send down on them.
Oh, send 50 citizens, even more. 100 citizens, send 1,000, even more 10,000.
People are selling the blood of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
People are selling the blood of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
When Jesus Christ came to die for our sins freely.
No, so
people are selling the blood of Jesus Christ in Ghana.
But you are lawyers, so are you saying that those people on those television channels, it is until someone complains that they can be dealt with?
That's why we have an issue with the regulator. You know, you see, the reason why we have regulators all over, a regulator to regulate people who and the procedure that will cause you to be given a license.
Yeah.
Ghana, we have Bank of Ghana. You see all these issues of, you know, this guy, I think about 10 years ago, the guy was doing the tilapia thing.
America something. Ghana America investment.
0 to 0, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The good guy.
Number one.
For me,
it's a men's gold.
Yeah, men's gold. And all this. In Ghana here, it's like every 5-6 years, there's a massive scam in this country. Of about 5 years, 6 years.
I think when we in JSS, it was Pyram.
There's always a massive scam. It's because our regulators are not working.
Okay.
They are simply because I know that even advertisements has to be approved by standards board also.
Yeah.
Adverts.
Exactly.
Yeah, it needs to be. So they sit there and then they do all this, and we have NCA, we have all those, and rather their focus always is on political stations. Let's go and close a station because it belongs to a politician. Yeah. Meanwhile, we've created a system where people's properties, the risk of losing a property is high because of fiscal settings, IT settings, and spiritual settings. And we must stop that.
Okay. Yes, let's do one from the graphic online. It says the High Court in Accra has fixed July 18 this year to begin the trial of the immediate past Director General of the National Signals Bureau, NSB, Kwabena Edubuahene, and 3 others standing trial for allegedly stealing 49.1 million Ghana cedis from the state. The prosecution is expected to call its first witness to the witness box to firm up its case against the court persons. Do we say court persons?
The
court persons, or maybe the accused persons. The court presided by Justice John Nyante gave the date after completing a pre-trial proceedings, paving the way for the trial to begin, which means that the application for us to go way back into 1992 in terms of the security,
it was refused.
It was refused. Yeah, I'll just give you 2 minutes. Our time is almost up. 2 minutes, and I will.
I haven't seen the ruling refusing it, but the ruling does make sense because our security issues are things that should be guarded jealously. You understand me? And of course, it is innocent until proven guilty. And I spoke before on this show and other places that maybe the idea behind bringing out the records from 1992 onwards is to show that the opening of the extra accounts is something that is a trend in
the security
the security issues. However, you know, when you balance the two, you realize that bringing all these details out may cause a lot of problems. And I think from following the case, I believe the gentleman has already made his point, and Justice Nyadu, I know that he'll be able to weigh the issues well in the course of the trial. However, I'm yet to see the ruling but if I'm to use my reasoning as a layman in security issues, I would say that maybe bringing out those details, that means that it may get in a public domain. Even though this is the CMC stage, it may get in a public domain. Then we'll see that from 1992, we spend this amount against terrorists here. We spend this amount, maybe trillion.
I'll let you continue, but let me take you to Wale because we understand the residents there are complaining that the curfew imposed on them is affecting business. And my colleague Ilyasu Tanko, who is our correspondent in the area, is joining us with details. Ilyasu, what can you tell us?
Hi, Brace. Good morning. It's been about 5 months since the curfew was imposed in Wale, Bimsi, Wulugo, and other communities along the Bolga-Tamale Highway. This was as a result of reprisal attacks on vehicles that were traveling from Boko to its destinations. So as we speak, the curfew has affected 9 lives and activities in Wale, the municipal capital itself. People who used to sell along the busy corridor are no longer able to make higher earnings. As a result, they are saying it is affecting their family as well. And there's also talks about these curfew being politically motivated. There's also concerns that thieves are taking advantage of this curfew to break into people's stores and steal properties. There's also concerns that another concern has been that during the curfew hours, vehicles are still allowed to pass through the town, which the residents say they live in fear because perhaps, according to them, somebody could take that as opportunity to attack them. And so they are calling for removal of this curfew. I have seen the anger and the frustrations among the youth, the lively atmosphere in the night have all gone. This is a community traditionally where people would like to come out to sit at the back of their houses or along the street for some time during the night time before retiring to bed. All these activities is no rather available, and there's an instance where people have to leave marketplaces to rush home because they fear that they could be caught up during curfew hours. So this has led to widespread frustration, especially according to residents. The overlord of the area has made repeated calls for the removal of the curfew. According to them, there's total restoration of peace, and they feel that this curfew is just to punish them for the wrong that they haven't committed.
So, I mean, the curfew was imposed because of some attacks that were ongoing in there. I mean, for the last 5 months, as you say, how many attacks have we had in the area?
There have been 0 attacks in the last 5 months, and I mean, they have not been even attempts. There have not been no reports of any attempt on this particular area in the last 5 months.
And why do they say it could be political? What are their reasons?
Well, they seem to think that because the vice president, the former vice president and NPP presidential candidate comes from this area, and if you look at the election that was conducted last time, we saw massive number of people in the Boko area voting for the NDC, and a significant number of people also here voting for the NPP. So they believe that this curfew was just imposed to, I mean, appease some people in the Boko area.
All right. Grateful to you for bringing us that update there. So we'll see how government will respond to this. So Eliasu Tanko was our man from the area. I don't know if Eliasu is still on. Okay, Eliasu, if you are still on, okay, he's gone. I wanted to find out if the authorities in the area, the RESEC, what they've also made. But yeah, but you were on. You can also have a bite. So just report.
Okay. I think it's nobody wishes curfew on anybody. As somebody who was born in the early 80s, I experienced a little bit of curfew, even though I was very young then. I remember it used to bring a lot of fear, a lot of inconvenience, and I think nobody wishes that on anybody. But I'm surprised that if there's been 5 months of no activity, of instability in Wale Wale, this should come about. But we shouldn't also be condescending of the curfew, because we need to know why. Maybe there's been intelligence picked up of something about to happen which cannot be disclosed. As to the curfew being because of the former vice president, His Excellency Dr. Bawumia, coming from there, I don't know if there's any substance to that. Okay. I mean, it's 7 months since the election. I don't think so. But however, I would hope that the authorities would get into whatever the situation is and then lift the curfew so that the good people of Wale Wale can have their freedom.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. NSB boss full trial will begin on the 18th of July, and also Wale Wale curfew.
Yeah, so I see that the AG is serious. We say the rules of justice grind slowly. I see this one, they own grind slowly. This one is all going to grind slowly. So, in the spirit of accountability and probity and accountability, and the spirit of justice for Ghana, yes, we'll start. We see we should remember that the accused is still innocent until proven guilty, and I hope that at the end of the day, justice is done to the entire people of Ghana. On the Wale issue, I stand on all fours with my brother here. We tend to read politics into everything. The authorities have the obligation to take a decision that will be in the best interest of the people themselves.
Yeah.
And if the system is volatile there to the extent that their lives is at risk, then curfew, as unpleasant as it may be, I think is the lesser of the two evils, okay. and it must be kept to ensure that lives are protected, properties are protected.
Okay. Someone says, KB, good morning. I wish the judge could have charged all those who patronize her practice and activities. Some of our youth don't want to work to earn a living. Says tell Mr. Boatio that people have quoted biblical verses and stories to us, yet they stole from us, Ghanaians. Being religious is good, but it's being abused in Ghana.
It's true. They quoted and then wore white.
Interesting.
No, but he is also innocent until proven guilty. Well, I know the one he's referring to. He's also innocent
but he's being accused. You can be accused.
Anyway, this is from Boateng Abraham Elikem to Irene Seiram Doglo. Says, happy birthday to my incredible wife, who deserves all the best in the world. I will love you now and forever. Happy birthday, love. And it's coming from Boateng Abraham Elikem to you, Irene Seiram Doglo. Happy birthday to you. Well, those who joined me for the show today is lawyer Kojo Botio. He's the
Kwame.
Oh, I used to your grandfather. Okay.
Thank you for yourself.
He is the CPP General Secretary and also a legal practitioner. And Musah Dankwa is also a legal practitioner and a spokesperson for the movement for change, a disappointed NPP. Anyway, we'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay.
Disappointed.
All right, so this is still the AM show. Now we have a very interesting discussion to have about the NPP pressure and, who is even leading the NPP in terms of its flag bearership as the race intensifies. We'll also delve into who leads the NDC after President John Mahama finishes or completes his term. But as we prepare to bring you that conversation, the Tertiary Education Workers Union at Ghana, TEUGH, has declared a strike, protesting what it describes as the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission's persistent refusal to recognize the union's representatives on the governing councils of public universities. Charles Arthur is chairman, TEUG Ghana and KNUST chapter. He joins us for more on this. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, what reasons are they giving you for their refusal to recognize you on the university councils?
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother, and good morning to your cherished listeners. The reason being given is that the name Teachers and Educational Workers Union of TUC is in the Act. And for them, they were also attending the council because we were with them. As a result of that, they were using their name to attend the council. As a result of that, if we have departed, then we should go. And then we are arguing that that is not the case. Because if you look at the Act establishing the University Act 80, the name there is Teachers and Education Workers Union. Simple. But TUC, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union of TUC. And we are saying that these two names are distinct, are not the same. Identical and same are not the same. We have drawn the attention of the Director General of Tertiary Education Commission, Professor Brian Chenapo, and all of them agreed that we will have to sit down and find amicable solution to this matter because all of us will still be working in the university environment, only for us to get to know that he has written a letter behind us to the university, allowing the TUC to go onto the council In fact, their numbers were also of minimal. If you take, for example, KNUSC, we have 785. TUC is having 123, and then so on and so forth. We have other universities that the TUC does not even exist there. Professor Janapo is saying that even though they do not exist, yet we TU Ghana cannot go on council. We cannot be on council, and we don't understand. We think that the reasons given are reasons that are invalid, and it will not help in the cause of governance in the universities.
But how long has TUC been representing you on the councils?
The council, initially, if you look at the act establishing the university, initially it was from staff. It was a latter part that I think during the PNDC regime that they introduced the worker representative on council. And at that time, the name we're using is Teachers and Educational Workers Union of TUC. But the drafters of the act did not put in the Teachers and Educational Workers Union of TUC. They put in Teachers and Education Workers Union. It's a generic name. So between the two of us, no one can pick that name and say that it's exclusively for me. That's our argument. And that is what we are saying. And that we believe that that is the law. And in any case, if we put it aside, do we have to even say that a name in the act is my name and therefore I should be there so the king don't come? It can never be.
So what exactly do you want done?
No, we are saying that per the rules in this country, in order not to create inconvenience and chaos, we have Labor Regulation 2007, LI 1833, Section 10(1), which clearly says that anytime we have two unions in the same undertaking, Chief Labor Officer will be notified, and then he will do verification to determine which of the union is serving the majority. And then, what do you call it? Bargaining certificate will be issued so that that person will lead in the negotiation. You understand? So if that is the case, then clearly this is not the first time that a union is parting away from other union and bargaining certificate is taken from them. So we are saying that that regulation provision must be used so that it will conform to norms and culture of labor representation in Ghana. Because as we speak, the TUC, the Secretary General, he is the head of the organized labor. He is the leader of the organized labor. By which reason that he is the head of organized labor? It's because that he is having the majority of the people, as against CLOSAC and Ghana Federation of Labor's NAT and NAGRAT and everything. You understand? So if that is used, why is it that in Africa that is not going to be used?
So does TEU-GH have a bargaining certificate now?
The bargaining certificate is where it's now we are at the Labor Department, and it's a Labor Department that will have to count us now that we are two. We have TEU-GH and then TEU Ghana. Labor Department is to count the two and then say that now this TEU Ghana having the numbers, and then for the bargaining certificate, it's no more with TEU-TUC, but it must go to the TEU Ghana. And they are frustrating that process. That process is being frustrated.
Okay.
You understand?
I get you, but did you say earlier that the one with the bargaining certificate means that it has the larger number of people and therefore they have to be on council? Did you say that?
That should be that's the case.
Okay, but if that's the case and the bargaining certificate has not been issued, why not wait till it is issued to you, then you can make the case that you have to be on council?
No, fine. If we have not challenged or we have not gone to the Chief Labor Officer for verification, then what you are saying holds. But here is the case that we have been to the Chief Labor Officer, where they themselves are also there. Counting is only have to be done, and then we'll finish. And it takes how many minutes and how many hours to do the counting? Because most of the universities have even sent their numbers and other things to GTEC, where the GTEC will have to even forward it to the Chief Labor Officer, and then he will verify it, and then it ends everything. So it should not take even 1 week or 2 weeks to do the verification, unless they want to put in certain measures, you understand, to delay the system. to bring it to where we are now. So we think that we are being frustrated because people think that we should not be there. We should not be there, and TUC with the minority supposed to be there, and I brought this agitation.
Okay, but so, how long is this strike going to last?
It's an indefinite strike.
Okay, but why do you make students suffer for the lack of a better word, the inefficiency of a body?
Thank you very much. The issue is that once we have approached the labor officer, then what do you call it? Professor Jinapo cannot write any letter allowing the TUC to go on council. He should let us finish the process and know who will hold the bargaining certificate first. Now, Professor Jinapo, because he is not working in the university as we speak, or the minister has not worked in the university as we speak, that's why they are downplaying the whole issue, thinking that they will use power instead of the law. You understand? And that is the end result that students will suffer as a result of our withdrawal from the sector. So we want all of you to urge the Minister of Education, the Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, to show keen interest in this matter, to resolve the matter, because the Chief Labor Officers Department comes under Minister of Employment and Labor Relations. It's a matter of a phone call directing that do this, and then it finished. There's no need for this strike. But this strike will have to come in because they have decided that they will frustrate us, and nobody is prepared to even listen to us. Minister of Education is not ready. Minister of Labor and Employment, we don't even know that he's even in existence. All efforts to see him has proved futile. So what can one do when there's a pressure from your members in the various campuses that we hold a majority and then minority is going to council? We will not allow that.
Okay. Now, why do you want to be on council?
My brother, when the law says that something must be done, you must use that way to do it. The law says that there must be workers' representative on council. It's for the corporate governance. It's for the good governance. Okay. As to why the law says that. So if the law says that, who are we to say that we will not go on council when in fact we have the majority and we have to go to council? Because the law knows the reason why it has stated that. You understand?
Yeah.
So
I'm asking this because I've been in the university before and I know what happens, especially in the house of residence when TEU goes on strike. And that's why I'm asking, why you want to use that, your absence from the council, to then declare a strike, which will end up in creating that sort of unfavorable condition in the house of residence. But yeah, you have the right to also go on strike. So I give you that. I wish you all the best. We'll be monitoring how this goes.
Yes, but you see, I have said that the Minister of Education and the Minister of Labor and Employment Relations, we need not to go anywhere. They will have to sit us down and resolve this matter. When they sit and resolve, the issue will be that the regulation that I told you earlier on is that they have to use, because it's not the first time that a union has taken itself from a mother union. It has happened at the Ghana Health Service Workers Union and Laboratory Workers Association. At the end of the day, they counted it, and then the bargaining certificate was given to whoever who have to be given. So the issue of they have been in existence for long, and the law does not take cognizance of who have been in existence for long. The law takes cognizance of who has the majority of members to represent, and they are denying us that. So let us all tell the Minister of Education, and then who is having oversight responsibility of all the tertiary institutions in Ghana, and then the Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, who also have the Labor Department as his agency, to resolve this matter. Just one day we'll finish it, and then there will be no strike. There will be no hardship on the students.
Have you brought in the National Labour Commission, the NLC, so that the NLC could probably get you the solution you're looking for?
Yes, when you know that when the Section 159 of the Labour Act, A and B, clearly says shows the way one can go on strike. So you have to give 7 days. We wrote to all of them. We have written to the Labour Commission and everybody, all stakeholders. And then 7 days has passed. We even gave 9 days. And what we have seen is that we have received a letter from the Labour Commission that the letter is directing the Director General of GTEC to respond to our press conference that we held on 24th June 2025, that he should answer it, which borders on what do you call it, the representation and other issues, representation of council and other issues that we have raised. As we speak, and we have not received anything from Labour Commission, whether they have responded or they have not responded. We presume that if they have responded, it's likely that Labour Commission may decide to refer it for our comment or engage us or whatever. But as we speak, nothing of that sort has happened.
Okay. I wish you all the best, sir. Grateful that you could join us.
Thank
Charles Arthur is chairman, TEU Ghana, and he is with the KNUST chapter there. Let's see. They say this is an indefinite strike, so we'll see how that particular one goes. Let's come back and talk about politics and leadership and democracy in Ghana, because the opposition New Patriotic Party has set January 31, 2026 to conduct the flag bearer primaries to elect someone to become the flag bearer of the party. Now, as this campaign heats up, we want to know who is leading the pack, and one organization that is at the forefront of conducting polls to determine who becomes a flag bearer, who becomes a parliamentary candidate of a political party is Mr. Musah Dankwa's organization, Global Info Analytics, and they've done a recent one. They've done one on the NPP. I've seen one on the NDC as well. So we'll start with the NPP and then we dovetail into that of the NDC. We'll combine sitting down plus, our smart wall, so you see for yourself what we have. Mr. Musah Dankwa in the studio. Good morning, sir. I hope all is well.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Okay, and I get that now you're getting calls from all over the world because you got the 20.
It's a lot of pressure, but we're handling it carefully.
Okay, all right. And how's the polling world going?
Oh, very well. In fact, we've done a lot more than we are saying in terms of what we know. But we're keeping the public informed through our regular 90-day polling cycle. That's what is available to the public. Any other thing else is for us to probably consume and get to understand what is happening better.
Okay. Let's start with the NPP. Or maybe, but yes, I'll let us come to the government. But let's start with the NPP. What is it looking like now?
From what we've heard from voters, generally across the country, it appears Bawumia is in a very, very good lead at the moment. He's hovering around 56% of popular support among all voters.
Okay. Among all voters. Irrespective of whether they are NPP or non-NPP.
Absolutely.
Ghanaian voters.
Ghanaian voters. But then when you disaggregate this into party affiliation, he's much stronger in NPP than nationally.
Okay.
He's around 70% among people who say they are NPP, which is very good for him because it means that as we speak currently, if they are to have a vote to elect somebody, the delegates are more likely to align with the views of their party followers.
Okay. And the 56 in the country also means something, right?
Yes, it means something. Either, depending on how you look at it, because it includes also people who are NDC. Now, about half of NDC voters prefer him to lead MPP. So if I was a political strategist, I would discount the views of NDC people.
Okay.
They could be mischievous in the way they are thinking. I would rather focus on the MPP voters and also the floating voters. They will give you an independent view of what they think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you take away the NDC voters,
then the number will come down below probably around 50%.
Around 50%?
Yes.
50% will win him an election then?
Yeah, but remember those who vote are delegates. So that number could be different depending upon how things pans out going forward.
But what is accounting for his strong lead in the MPP? What do they say?
I think it's name recognition. Name recognition. He's well recognized as a former vice for 8 years. Also the candidate for the MPP in the last election. And there has been general argument that because he's well marketed, it will be easier for him to be represented again because then you don't have to struggle to market him. there are pluses and minuses of that argument, but we won't come to that point right now. I think that is largely leading to his kind of upper hand in the race at the moment.
But Kennedy Japan has also been around for some time. He was in the race last time. So could it just be the name that is helping Bawumia or something else?
I think the name is part. And also, you know, every tradition has some certain beliefs. And if you look at what NPP has gone through in the past historically from Kufuor, they have had to be given 2 chances, or in some cases 3 chances. And I think that kind of thinking is helping to build a case for Bawumia. And at the moment, I haven't seen any of the rivals dismantling that case yet. And actually dismantling that case, I think it's going to ride on that and probably run away with it.
But from your experience, it can change, can't it?
Yes, it can change, depending on what happens in the NEC decision to do the elections top-down rather than bottom-up.
Okay.
What we have seen in the data is that there are a very good crop of MPP voters who don't want Bawumia to go.
Okay.
If you look at MPP voters who did not vote in the last election, 41% support Bawumia and 40% support Kennedy. So from that block, you could see the opposition to Bawumia in that block. But among those who, in the last election, voted for Bawumia, almost 74% are still voting for him. So if they open the primaries up to include more people, then these anti-systems will find their way into the register.
Okay.
And that could shake the race going forward. But if they succeed in maintaining the current album, I think Bawumia will be home and dry.
But once the NPP has been a party that gives more than 1 chance to its presidential candidate, it favors Bawumia, right?
Yes.
That favors him.
It favors him. And also there's another argument that I haven't heard people make, but from data we've seen that I think they are fearful of not giving him a second chance.
Okay.
For a reason that the northern region could be a problem for them if they don't do that.
Okay.
When I say northern, I mean the entire northern bloc.
Yeah.
Because they may argue that why didn't you give him a second chance while you've given the other candidate a second chance? And the consequences of that could be much more disastrous for MPP than allowing him to go again.
Okay, interesting. Then there will be an interesting race.
Very interesting. Early days yet, but I think in the next 90 days, we'll be shifting the focus from general voters. We'll do it alongside, but we'll begin to dig into the MPP delegates, and that will be more insightful to see.
Interesting. Okay, is it time for us to go to the smart wall?
Yeah.
Let's go to the smart wall and see, and make people understand how all this plays out. So, Musah Dankwa will be on the smart wall and will take us through. He's the head of research and poster at the Global Influence Analytics. Yeah, let's start. So this is for 1st July?
This one, 1st July.
Okay.
So I don't know whether who's going to nominate me.
So yeah, we'll do it for you. Don't worry. So what it means is that this poll started on the 1st of July.
The report came on the.
You released the report.
But it was not between period of May to June.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I think we can skip the summary and go to the
summary.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, let's go to the presidential. Or you want us to go through everything? Or
okay. Let's go. So this is an age bracket.
Yes,
does it really say something?
It tells you that the country is young people. Look at it.
Yeah, it's a youthful
population.
Yeah,
44%. I mean, 30, 70, 69, almost 80% of the people, voters, are below 44 years of age.
Yeah.
This would have implication on who will become the president.
Oh, okay. So you have to appeal to the youth.
Absolutely.
Youthful population.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's move ahead.
Interesting.
Next.
Could that be the reason why?
Next.
Could that be the reason why Brian Achampon, in one of his videos, was speaking Pidgin?
Absolutely. But as whether his youth speak Pidgin is another matter, because most Ghanaian voters at least have junior high qualification.
Yeah.
So about maybe 90% have junior high, senior high, and tertiary. So those who are left with that skills in English language is very small. So you have to also be very careful as to how you target them.
No, but the youth love to speak Pidgin, right?
It has to be a different style of Pidgin.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of Pidgin he was speaking.
Okay.
I'd love to see that.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one.
But doesn't the denomination matter? Doesn't it say anything?
It does matter in a way. If you look at the Pentecostal and then the Charismatic Church group, they are almost like 32, normally to 40% of the Christian population.
Yeah, 32%.
So if you have an issue with this category of Christians, you are in trouble. They are the ones that really give problems for people. They are more of evangelical in nature. And the regime for them is quite important sometimes.
Okay.
They're the ones who give problems for people who have religious issues. Okay. But the Anglican, the Catholics, the Methodists, and the Presbyterians, they are more liberal.
But they are the majority, right?
Absolutely.
Anglican is 6%, Presbyterian is 16. That will give you 22. If Methodist is 37, that is Methodist is 17, so that is 39. They added to Catholic, that's 59.
And you have to also dissect to see where the youth, which of the Catholic the groups are the youth
youthful
belonging to.
Okay.
Normally the Catholics, the Methodists, the older generation. So you have to be very careful.
Yeah, I get it.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go. Now the ethnic groups, the accounts are the majority, around 46, 45%.
Okay.
Everywhere is 12%, Moli Dagbani 11%, the Gan Adangbe 9%, others 9%. You can see the rest of the breakdown.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Next. Then party affiliation. This is where it gets tricky for the political parties. Before the last election, around October, the last poll we did, people who openly declared that they are NPP voters were 37%.
Okay.
Fast forward till April, that number declined to 32%.
Okay.
And NDC was 33% before the elections. They went to 42% in April.
And they are now
44%.
Okay.
NPP has declined to 30%.
Okay.
The floating voters remain 15%. And then those who don't tell you their party affiliation, which is worrying because we have seen their behavior similar to that of NDC voters.
Okay.
And then we have the other parties remain at 3%. So you can see that NPP...
So the one in blue is for the research that was done in April. And the green is for June.
So you can see NDC is up, NPP is down.
Down. Okay. Wow. Why? So people are running away from the NPP or what?
Yes. I mean, people have found reasons to leave NPP. And sometimes people tend to say that, oh, look, political parties are not ethnic groups. People join and they leave. If they find you a bit repulsive, unattractive, they will leave. So they must watch these numbers carefully. They must be able to bring the numbers up to a position where they'll be competitive. If this number stays like this, it will change though. But we are tracking this over what we call the 90-day moving average cycle.
But this is also within a certain sample size, right?
But it doesn't change technically because we run this over 90-day cycle, average it as we go along. And over 6 months, you'll see that it will stabilize at a certain point, and that is the point where they should be worried.
Okay.
But now, early days, but it should still be a concern for them.
Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's do the next one and see.
Right. Now, the direction of the country.
Okay.
We ask voters to tell us whether they feel the country is headed in the right direction or wrong direction. Look at everything in general. In the April poll, 62% said right direction, 26% wrong direction, and 12% no opinion. 90 days on, right direction has gone to 70%. Wrong direction down to 20%. No opinion, 10%. In between this period, April and July, were the times we saw the CD recover.
Yeah.
Petrol prices come down. Price of things begin to recede. And this is the feeling that has fed this data.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Okay. Let's
now,
do the
if you go to this same data by party affiliation, now 45% of NPP
this one has to go up. So
up slightly.
Yeah.
No. We just want to see the bottom figure. About 45% of NPP voters are saying wrong direction. 43 are saying right direction.
Okay.
This is statistically tied because the margin of error for the entire sample is 1.2. And if you disaggregate at this level, it could be higher. So this could be that NPP is divided among themselves as to where the country is headed. But largely, they are saying right and wrong. Only 10% are saying wrong direction. For NDC, 90%.
10% they don't have opinion.
They don't have an opinion.
Okay.
So they are sitting on the fence waiting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Eventually they will make decisions. Among NDC, it's 90% right direction. Among floating voters, who are normally the independent people, it's 69%. So if you discount these NDC guys, look at the views of floating voters. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. So it means that, we all can see that the nation is headed in a good direction now. Okay.
Then we asked them about the approval rating of the president. We asked whether they approve or disapprove the way he's doing his job as president. In April poll, he was on 66%, now 73%.
That's a jump.
That's a huge jump.
7%.
Absolutely. Those saying disapprove were 23%, now 19%. Even those who didn't have an opinion now are going down. They have opinion now.
Okay. So they moved from to. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Now let's go ahead. Now look at this. Every region in this country are saying that Mahama, they approve of the way he's doing his job, including Ashanti region. 46% in Ashanti region say yes, he's doing well. 44 they say no. So here, statistically too, it could be tied, but it is not a good sign for opposition party in your own stronghold if most of them are praising the current president.
Okay.
That's a worrying sign.
Okay. But isn't also, like people say, early days yet? The goodwill is there. It couldn't.
That is why we are tracking it every time.
90 days. Okay.
When you go and it's different, we'll come back and tell you it's changed. If you don't measure it, how do you know he's made a progress or he's rotated? And so
that's true.
The measurement is quite important regularly. Now, if you go forward again, even among party affiliation, the next slide, you'll see that majority of MP people disapprove. 46%. Approve is 43. Still, the gap is not.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you go to floating voters, look at their verdict, 75%. They are more independent. They are more objective in the way they assess things. So if you doubt NPP and NDC, look at the floating voters.
Okay.
Next. The government performance. How do you assess the performance of the entire government? Not just John Mahama. Excellent is now 18%, down from 21%. So this has deteriorated.
Okay.
But very good or good has gone up from 55 to 61%.
Okay.
And then average up from 9 to 10. And then poor or very poor has declined
to 11.
That should be increasing if you're an opposition party. But that is declining. That's not a good news.
That's not good news
for the opposition, because you want the government to be unpopular.
Okay.
But this is showing that they are getting popular, moving from poor to somewhere maybe very good or good.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes. The next slide. I think we can move forward a bit. The key slide I want to look at. Okay, living standards of people. I think we've gone a bit far once before this one.
Okay, this one. The living standards.
Next, before this one. Okay.
No, before.
Here, this is fine.
This is okay.
We asked them about their living standards today compared to a year ago. What is it? Has it improved, worsened, unchanged, or they have no opinion? 59% of the respondents are saying that compared to last year, their standard of living has improved. 12% said it's gotten worse. Unchanged, 25%. You could see that those who were saying worse has dropped by 2%.
Yeah.
Those who are saying unchanged has so dropped by 5%. No opinion has dropped by some 4%. And it moved toward improved.
Okay.
So these are sentiment of people that currently we are talking to and they're telling us what they're feeling. The next slide, we tend to look ahead. The next one, look ahead into the future. Are you optimistic that in the next 12 months it will still improve? Look, yes, 72%. No, 16%. No opinion, 11%. There has been a remarkable improvement in those who are feeling positive. And these are the things that feed into the overall direction of the country that we saw earlier on. So some of these numbers tend to provide consistency to the data that we have collected. Let's go to the next. By party affiliation, let's move. We asked them, in the next 6 months, do you think price of goods and services will either increase, decrease, unchanged or you're not sure. Look at it. 55% of the respondents are saying that they believe that in the next 6 months, prices of goods and services will drop.
Okay. The city is doing well. Fuel prices are going down.
You can't dispute some of these metrics. Well, that's what people are telling us.
Okay.
Let's go to the next. Yeah, this is the controversial issue people are having with the survey that we did. We asked voters whether they've heard about the petroleum taxes that the government has increased. And they said they had. And we said to them that, look, the government says that there's a debt that needs to be repaid in order to clean up the sector. And that if that is not paid, we may see return of doom so. For that reason, they are imposing additional tax. Do you support the government decision to impose this additional tax? Strongly support, somehow support, strongly oppose, somehow oppose, not sure. 55% of the respondents were telling us that they support the imposition of that tax to pay for the problem they've identified.
But aren't these same Ghanaians the ones who have been complaining, forcing the government to suspend the implementation about twice?
But you see, who did the poll to know how many want it suspended? You see, sometimes we do talk, numbers are not there to back it up. And you can understand why they say yes.
But again, government also has ears on the ground.
But they won't tell you what the numbers are. If they are bad, they won't tell you.
But if their ears are not telling them the right ones, would they have postponed twice?
No, I think they mentioned the Middle East crisis.
Okay.
They were expecting the price of crude oil to go up.
Okay.
And that could mean more money to be spent on the pump. So they probably put it there just to see what happens in the market. Now, look, if people are saying their standard of living has increased, cost of goods and services will come down, it means that in terms of affordability, the tax appear more affordable than if they hadn't experienced these conditions now.
Okay.
Trust me, if there was no improvement in the economy, I don't think these guys would think of any 1 cedi tax because there will be revolt. All right, let's go to the next point. Okay. Next.
So this is still the tax.
Let's move ahead. Let's still go ahead a bit. Yeah, next slide. We assessed the president's performance on key number of issues. We asked them whether they approve or disapprove the way John Mahama is handling the economy. And 74% said yes, they approve the way he's handling the economy. That's the highest mark. We all agree that the economy is on a different level now. And that is what you're seeing in the response. 18% said they disapprove his focus on the economy, and 8% are saying that they have no opinion. On the economy, 74%. On job creation, it is 67%. It's lower than the economy because people haven't seen the actual jobs yet. So they can't give me a higher mark compared to the economy. And 22 are saying that they disapprove, and 11% are no opinion. We don't know what the numbers will be now that they've launched what they call the 24-hour economy and so on and so on. In the 90 days, we'll see what this number will be. Then on the Galamsey crisis, 65% are saying that they support the way he's handling the crisis, handling the fight against Galamsey. They didn't say he has succeeded in fighting Galamsey. They say they are happy with the way he's fighting it, 65%. 24% are not happy, and 17% have no opinion. Again, this is slightly lower than the overall, the big numbers like economy. And then we assessed him again on a number of critical issues that matter. So we asked voters on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very poor and 10 being excellent. How do you rate his performance? Let's see. On
stabilizing the city.
Stabilization. Let's go to the next slide. His highest score comes on city stabilization, 7.0. So out of 10, he scored 7.
Yeah, 70% out of 100.
Yes. When it comes to managing the economy, it's 6.6, 66%.
Yeah.
When it comes to oral, also 6.6%. When it comes to stabilizing price of goods and services, 6.5%. Stabilizing utilities such as water and electricity is 6.0. Fighting Galamsey, 6.0. Resolving doom so, 5.8 lower. Creating jobs, 5.6 lower. So you can see this kind of reflects the sentiment of the people. It means that his failure points are what? Doomsday and job creation.
Yeah.
Corruption fight. Now, let's go to the next slide. We asked them, what is the state of corruption in Ghana today? Is it improving, getting worse, or is it the same, or you have no opinion? In April, 56% were saying that it's improving. That number has now gone to 60% improvement. Those who said getting worse was 14, now 13%. The same was 23, now 20. No opinion, 7, still 7. It hasn't moved. Now, the next slide. We asked them, do you believe the government is doing enough in fighting corruption? Yes. It was 60, now 63. No, 23, now 26, now 23%. And then no opinion from 14% to still remain 14%.
So it means that the 3 that moved from the no.
Absolutely, went to miss. Now, league table of the most perceived corrupt public institutions. This we are tracking every 90 days to see how they are performing. Now, on top remains the Ghana Police Service, 6.32 score out of 10. Ghana Immigration Service, 5.45. Judiciary, 5.43. Tax officials or GRA officials, Electoral Commission, now 5.39. Tax officials, 5.3. Now you could see that those at the bottom now are the politicians, which is highly unusual in the past. Ministers, government officials, now 4.14 score. Presidency, 4.51. In the past, these people were jostling for top positions.
Okay.
Something has changed. Now, we will track this, and as and when corrupt cases begin to pop up, you will see these numbers changing.
Yeah.
For now, nothing has happened yet, so they are enjoying their holiday in terms of perception. Once things begin to deteriorate, they will see their score moving up. Now, what we've observed is that compared to last April, every public institution has seen an improvement in corruption perception. It is lowering, the score is coming down, which means that generally now, people are thinking that those places that we thought they were very corrupt are beginning to show sign of what? Less corruption. Next slide. You can see the movement. The biggest improvement was the presidency, 16.9 reduction in their score.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Ministers, 11.4. Religious leaders, 11.2. Parliament, 14.4. Then you have traditional leaders improved by 12.7. Local government, 10.8. You see, every institution recorded a negative decline in perception.
Yeah.
This is what we want to see going forward.
Okay.
Now, let's move to, I think, now here's a bit of disagreement as to those who didn't vote in the election. 2 million people did not vote. The 2 million that they said they didn't vote. Those who did not vote in the last election, the 2 million, whatever that number is, were they all NPP voters? That they didn't show up? That if they had turned up, NPP would have won? The poll shows that only 48% of those who didn't show up to vote in the last election were NPP voters.
Okay.
19% were NDC people. They didn't show up. But these people in the last election voted for the NADO. And then
this 19% of them voted for the NADO.
Yeah, in the last 2020 elections.
But they didn't vote.
They didn't come. So whatever number that we're talking about for the NADO, it included NDC people as well.
But I've spoken to people who say, I'm NDC, but I voted for the NADO in 2020.
Yes.
I mean, so this person is not part of those who didn't vote.
They are counting that as, because NADO got 2 million more votes than Bawumia.
Yes.
So they are counting the 2 million as MPP people.
Okay.
And they are not just MPP people, they are also what? NDC people.
Okay.
Floating voters and
27.
others. But so majority of people who didn't vote actually were not MPP people.
Okay.
If you add 19, 27, and 7, that's 52%. Then let's go to next. Yeah, and those who didn't vote, we asked them, if you were to be given a chance today to go and vote, who would you vote for? Those who didn't vote in the last election, this is what they're telling us.
Okay.
Mahama 66%, Bawumia 24%, others 10%. Okay. So things has not improved for NPP.
Okay.
No. Now the leadership race.
Okay.
Let's go to the next. Who is NPP? Here we know that voters don't elect flag bearers, but delegates do. But the views of Ghanaian voters matter in who you elect.
Okay.
You could go for your own. The final decision will be made by who? The ordinary voters.
Yeah.
If they reject it, you are in trouble. So it is good to have a perception of what is happening around the country to see whether you want to go against the public or you want to be with the public. When we ask them, who would you prefer to lead NPP in 2028? Bawumia, 5-6%. Kennedy, 23%. Yao Iduchum, 9%. Patrick Bawumia, he hasn't said anything yet, but he's on 4%. Brian Champon on 3%. The rest are on.
But how did his name pop up if he hasn't said
anything?
We
work with speculations and expectations. Sometimes we throw names that could be in there that may not be in to see whether the public will look elsewhere.
So you threw.
We decide who to put in the race.
Okay.
Based on our judgment and other work we've done underground.
Okay.
To give the people we believe should be on the short list. For now, NPP, this is what we have. Now, when that data is broken down into party affiliation, 70% of NPP voters said Bawumia.
Okay. 17
said Kennedy. 7 Educhu, 1 Bawumia, 3 Achampon, and 2% others. When you come to NDC, 50% of NDC people want Bawumia.
Okay.
26% want Kennedy, 10% Educhu, 4%. Look at the floating voters. You see, it's much closer there.
Yeah.
46 for Bawumia and 28 for Kennedy. It means that it's not as rosy in other blocks for Bawumia compared to his own base.
But he's still leading.
It's still leading.
Interesting.
Now, if you look at the numbers from last time, in April, DMB was 48%, Bawumia. He moved to what? 56%. Kennedy dropped from 25% to 23%, top of 2. Yao Iduchum dropped from 12 to 9. Brian Champon, 4 to 3. Bawumia was in there, is now on 4. And others dropped to 9%. So the gainers in this survey were Bawumia and Bawumia.
Patrick Bawumia.
Now, let's go to the, let's say the next slide. I'll put that one. The next slide from the, it's similar. The next one. Okay, here. Among NPP voters who went for Bawumia last time, 76% want him again.
Okay.
14 want Kennedy, 6 Educhum, 1% Bawumia, and 2% Achampon. For those who didn't tell us the party, the person they voted for last time, 31% prefer Bawumia, and Kennedy, 66%. 2% Educhum. Now, for those who did not vote, but they are NPP people, they didn't vote, 41% want Bawumia and 40% Kennedy. So here, it is much closer and much tighter among NPP voters who did not vote.
Not delegates.
Not delegates.
But voters.
Voters.
Who did not vote.
Yeah, who did not vote. Yes. Yeah, so let's go to the next. Then you have the age bracket of the various candidates and where they are drawing their support from. Across all age groups, Bawumia dominates.
It's interesting then.
Yes.
Because earlier we said the one who conquers the youth, or because the Ghanaian youth, the Ghanaian voter is useful.
Yeah, so you must be able to win these age groups. And if you look at it here, he's doing very well among that age group. So if you want to compete strongly against him, you must look at this age group because there are no more older people in the population. So you must really have a message that resonates well with the youth who are going to vote and to decide.
But across all the age groups, Bawumia is doing
the problem is the demography of delegate does not reflect the population of the country. That's the problem NPP has. Okay. So you must align the delegate numbers and see whether it kind of mirrors the general population. From what we have done, it doesn't.
But they also have 18, 24, 25, 34.
Among delegates of political parties, this number is very, very small.
Okay.
Very, very small. But people who are delegates are normally within this 35 and this 44.
Okay. Okay.
So the parties must begin to reflect what the population of the country is. Otherwise, they will be in trouble.
Okay.
You go and allow old men to elect, well, some age group to elect somebody for you, and that person may be rejected by the younger people. So you have to be very careful.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Right. I think let's go to the next NDC one. Look, let's stop here for a little bit. And there's a point, sometimes I want to, what do you call exception. Bawumia leads 54% among junior high. Senior high, 60%. Among tertiary, look, it is down 51%. That number needs to be higher because you need to be able to win more of the people with the very highest level of education. His number there is declining. And even among NPP voters, those who have tertiary education is coming down.
But can you say it's declining? You'd have to compare this to what it was, maybe say in April, before you can do that comparison.
We've seen that, but we've seen that. Okay. And even generally, if you look at the party affiliation, NDC, how many have junior high, how many have senior high, compare that like data, we are seeing a decline in people who are at least tertiary graduates who support NPP. Yeah, let's go to next. Let's go to the, okay, now we've broken the survey down into various modes. In the telephone poll, Bawumia led almost 57%. Face-to-face, 59%. Online, 23%. In the online, Patrick Bawumia led the online 27%. So he's more popular in the social media angles. Patrick Bawumia. He is yet to translate that into the field, and that is if he's going to contest. Okay. He must do more on the ground. So maybe he hasn't spoken anything, that's why.
So for the telephone survey you did, who led?
Bawumia led.
Face-to-face?
Face-to-face, Bawumia 59.4.
Okay.
And online?
Online, 23.
And then the average of that gives you the 56.2%.
Okay. But if you, because okay.
The sample size for this telephone and online were very small.
Okay.
This was nearly 8,000.
8,000.
8,000.
Of the delegates?
No, of Ghanaian voters.
Ghanaian voters, yes. Okay. Okay.
Now the NDC.
Okay.
Nobody has said anything. Nobody has given us anything. But in our own wisdom, we look at the NDC people and list whoever we think we can list. And we took a decision to take some people out for our own reason.
Okay.
To enable us to have a very good sense of where we are. If you ask them, who would you want to lead NDC in the 2028 elections? 27% of them said Haruna Idrisu, Minister of Education. Johnson Asedin Ketia, 26%. Dr. Ato Forson, 22%.
That's a tight race.
Very tight race. Julius Debra, 11%. Honorable Ablakwa, 8%. Zenato, 4%. And the rest of them, 3%. So all the names that you will be thinking about is part of the 3%. Now, if you look at among NPP, 23 want Haruna, 31 wants Mosquito, 20 prefer Atuforsin, Debra 13%, Ablakwa 5%, Ajiman Rollins 5%, and others 3%. Look at the NDC base. 30% Haruna, 24 Mosquito, 22 Atuforsin, 11 Debra. Look, the race is here.
Amongst the four?
Yes.
The four people?
Yes, the race is there.
Yeah.
This is there. And then among floating voters, you can see the numbers there as well. Floating voters, Haruna 21%. Now, if you compare this data to what we did in April, you could see that Haruna has gone up from 25 to 27%. What happened in April, July or June, we dropped Jane Nana Opoku from the list.
Okay.
So her numbers begin to realign.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at Asedin Ketia,
the biggest gainer is Asedin Ketia.
Yes, he's the biggest gainer in that decision to drop Jane Nana Opoku.
By 100%.
Absolutely, from 13 to 26%.
Yeah.
Atuforsin from 17 to 22%. Debra from 8 to 11.
Okay.
Ablakwa suffered from 14 to 8.
Oh, he dropped.
And also Zenato dropped from 8
What would have accounted for Ablakwa's drop?
No, you see, and that is the intelligence we have. you want to see what proportion of Jane Nana supporters will move, and if they move, where will they go to?
Ah. And they didn't go to Ablakwa?
No.
Okay, interesting.
He even lost grounds.
Okay. Mm.
So these are the kind of insight we have that most people don't know we have.
Okay.
We can tell you what proportion went where, and from which region, and from which demography. All right, let's go next.
Quite interesting. We would have to wrap up here.
All right, okay.
But yeah, just wrap up with this. And
I think what we are seeing in the NDC race is a generational divide.
Okay.
And we can see from this angle, if you look at people who in 2024 voted for John Mahama and how they are voting for the NDC primaries, you could see that the combined vote of Ablakwa, Zenato, Atuforsin, and Haruna accounts for 65% of John Mahama's voters.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it means 65% of John Mahama voters are looking elsewhere than the older generation.
Okay. Interesting. I'm grateful to you. Very wonderful analysis and research there that or polling that they have done there. But we'll still keep engaging them as we move on. But away from now, let's do the national science and maths quiz. But on this, you can go onto our social media platforms and leave your comment there. Let's hear from you. What you do make of what the global info analytics have done. Well, up next is NSMQ. Well, let's take you to the Bono region where my colleague Collins Frimpong is joining us with what is happening at the NSMQ grounds. Collins, take it away from us and tell us what's happening.
Brace, thank you. Welcome to the Sinyani Senior High School in the Bono region, where currently we are going to have the 2025 NSMQ zonal final here at the Sinyani Senior High School. And currently we are having 4 schools that will be competing in the zonal final. We may have a new winner for the zone, and also it is possible that we are going to have a school that will retain their title. Sinyani Senior High School last year won it, and this time around, even though they came through the back door after losing their first contest, but when they were able to secure over 40 points, that's 46 points, that allowed them to compete in the semis yesterday, which they won their competitions. And therefore, they will have to compete today in the final to defend their title. We also have St. James Seminary Senior High School, who last year they lost their final to Sunyani Senior High School. This time around, they came in as a seeded school and they shipped all the boys and the girls in their group with over 60 points there, and they are the only school that had the Goal Bonanza radio. They won 3 out of 4 of that particular zone. So far in this particular zone, they are the only school that came in and won the Goal Bonanza radio over there. And we are also having Notre Dame Girls Senior High School, who are also the first time they are making their final. They have been competing since 2016, and this time around they have moved to the finals and they will be competing with the boys. They are the only girls school so far that have made it to the zonal final. We also have Brekum Presbyterian Senior High School also making it to the final for the first time in 7 years here. So this morning, this is what is happening. The stage is set, and in 30 minutes time, the final will be starting over here. But let's engage some of the students who are here. Some of the candidates are also here, and the teachers are here. The mood this morning is vibing despite the early rains that came down. You have been all over the place since this competition started. Right from Monday, you came in as underdogs. Based on what you and your school, your candidates, everybody has been saying, this time around, you have made it to the final. How is it, and what level of confidence are you having this morning?
The confidence is very high, though. But since we are the underdogs, the tension is in. But you see, success is not a comfortable procedure. You need to get uncomfortable, being comfortable, if you ever want to get successful. So we are hoping for the best. And you see, the underdogs, we are going to show them that our success and our work is going to pay.
Are you really underdogs, considering the fact that your first contest, you amassed over 56 points? And your second contest, your semis, you went in with Sacred Senior High School or Sacred Heart Senior High School, who had defeated the defending champion Sunyani by 3 points. They secured 49 points. You defeated them, and you are going into the final. Doesn't it give you some level of confidence rather than thinking that you are still underdogs?
The reason why we give ourselves the name underdogs is that when we mention the name NSMQ, Bekum Pesek is never mentioned. But now, we want to remain silent and show the world that we are there. We are coming with force.
And those 4 schools, St. James Seminary, yesterday we saw the firepower that they brought on stage, and even off the stage, the kind of confidence that they exude, the jammer, the vibe, everything that they brought on the stage. What message will you send to them? Host school, Sunyani, is also coming in with a crowd. You'll be cheering them up. You two, you have your boys here. We have Notre Dame girls. First time they have made it to the final. What message are you sending to their contestants and their school?
I'm telling them just one thing. You see, a British philanthropist, Vin Diesel Churchill, once said, and I quote, "The only place where you can find success before work is in the dictionary." We've worked and we are coming for them. So they should wait. God is with us.
That's it. That's the firepower here, Brace. So you heard him. That's one of the guys that so far he's been leading the Brekum Presby Senior High School guys, and they have made it to the final. Let's engage one more. Yes. Good morning once again. We've met for the 3rd time. How's the feeling like? How's the mood at your end?
Oh, we're excited. We're excited at the finals. We're excited. Yeah, first time I'm witnessing the finals for Notre Dame, so I'm very excited. As you can see, we're all happy. We're all here to support our students. So yeah, we have.
And is there any message that you are sending out there to your people? Any words of encouragement to your contestants?
As a wise Frenchman said, "What will be." So we just have to wait and watch.
Are you all philosophers? It looks like you all have been quoting philosophers this morning. White man, Englishman. Why? Are you all philosophers?
No, you see, as the mood is like times like this, you like start to like remember things you've read, philosophers and things. So that's why we're quoting them.
Right. So those out there that you are going to compete against, the big guys are there. Notre Dame, they were seeded school. Sorry for mentioning your school again. You have St. James's Seminary, who were a seeded school. They are coming into the final. They came in yesterday, amassed over 56 points. We have Presby boys also there, Sunyani also there. Does it put some fear in you? Does it strike some fear in you?
No, not really. We came to leave a mark. No matter what happens today, just know we came to leave a mark for the nationals.
You want to be the first girls' school to win it in so many years?
Yes, please.
That's interesting one. So, Brace, that's a student from the Notre Dame Girls Senior High School, and they are hoping to win their first ever zonal final. The Bruno Ahafu zonal final. We have one of the teachers here for St. James Seminary. He is leading his boys. They have made it to the final twice in the last 2 years. Last year, they lost to Sunyani Senior High School. This time around, they will be competing with Sunyani. I don't know whether if there is some sort of fear in them, but you are the one leading the team. How is the feeling this early morning ahead of the contest?
Our boys have prepared. We've taken a lot of time to go through everything, and may the best school win. So today we'll see the best school winning. That's what we can assure you of.
Is it that you are doubting that your school is not the best among them?
So if I say may the best school win, of course St. James is the best school. So may the best school win. You understand? May the best school win.
Right, thank you. Once again, we are meeting. This morning, you've come here. The rain couldn't stop you all the way from where you people came. And you've been here for hours now, even though it has been raining since morning. What sort of confidence are you having this morning?
We have absolute confidence that we are winning the zonal championship. Yes, because last year, quite frankly, it was a bit disappointing when we weren't able to take the trophy. But this year, you've seen what we did yesterday, and it just goes to show that it will be a nice and neat affair for us today, and we are taking the trophy home.
You are not afraid of Sunyani?
No, please.
You are not afraid of the girls Notre Dame?
Never.
How about Presby, Brekum Presby, who are making it to the final for the first time in 7 years?
We aren't afraid of anybody.
That's an interesting one. Brace, let's engage one last person, then I'll hand over to you. How are you feeling?
Please, I'm doing well. Please, I'm doing well.
How's the feeling like at your end?
Everything is feeling okay. We are a little bit tensed, but everything, by God's grace, will be all fine.
What's making you tensed?
Well, Brecum Presby has been absent in the final for 7 years. We'll be expecting a big push from them, and also Sussex are also defending champions. We'll also be expecting another big push for them. Notre Dame girls will be also hoping to impress. So every school will be on their best performance, but we know that the good Lord is behind St. James, and obviously God's will be done, and we also win this for the 4th time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Brace, Notre Dame Girls Senior High School, they just couldn't make it to this final by just a chance, no. And in their first contest, they had 78 points. They are the only school to amass such a mark, 78 points in their first contest, and so far they are the highest school to score such points there in their first contest. And also in their second contest, they came up against some of the big boys, and they secured good points also in their second contest yesterday. And this time around, they have become the first girls school to make it to the final in so many years in the Bono Ahafo Zonal Championship. They will be hoping to win it for the first time. It's the first final that they are making in the school's history, so it is big for them, and they will be hoping to get to the national championship in October and also do better than they've been doing. They've been to the 1/8 before, so they will be hoping to do better than that. And also Brecum Presby, who they have not made it to the final before in the last 7 years, are also into the final, and they will be hoping to retain their title. They came up against Sacred Heart Senior High School, who defeated the reigning champion Sunyani Senior High School in their first contest. So it shows how good these schools are. And you all know St. James Seminary Senior High School, last year they were in the national championship quarterfinal, where they lost to Presec, Legon, and also Pope John's Senior High School. In 2022, they made it to the semi-final. So when it comes to the Bronx Ahafu zone, this morning, big boys are going to compete in the final, and the final is expected to start soon.
Collins Frimpong there, coming all the way from Sunyani Secondary School, where the NSMQ will be happening tonight. Collins, thank you so much, and keep doing the wonderful work you're doing up there. This is where you need to be for all the contests on the NSMQ. But let's come in studio now and have a chat on, on capping Get Fund. You remember when Get Fund was capped, a lot more people, spoke against it, that it didn't make money available for educational infrastructure purposes. We have, Richard Kwove, is that it? And he is convener for CAPCO. What was the full meaning of CAPCO?
And commercialization of education.
Hey.
It's made up of the teacher unions at the pre-tertiary level and civil society organizations that are led by Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition.
But if you want to talk about campaign against, or you want to campaign against the privatization of education,
so
what exactly do you want to achieve?
Yeah, so the concept, CAPCO, is not about we campaigning against private schools. But what we are basically saying is that we notice at a point government is relenting on its efforts in provision of education infrastructure for the public sector. And so the private sector is catching in on that gap and beginning to take over education delivery from the public. And so the needed investment that is made to make the public school look very attractive and then produce the needed results or learning outcomes is not coming. And so the private sector is catching in on that. And the government sees it as a relief. And so and the private sector doesn't provide education for free. They provide education at a fee. And so when we are implementing free compulsory universal basic education, and then free senior high school education policy, and then behind the scene, we are selling education to the poor. Because there was a concept which actually brought up we coming together to campaign against this phenomenon, where some multinationals were sponsoring some Ghanaians here. They put up makeshift structures, and then they tell the parents that, oh, this one, because there are no private schools there. So once the private schools are not there, they go in there and say, well, we want to provide education for you, but you are not going to pay fees. Just bring 3 cedi 50 pesos at the time, that around 2015, 2016 going. And then you, at the end of the day, when you put all together, by the end of the term, what they're paying is the same as what the normal private schools also charge. And you also pay feeding fee and other things. So it's equally at a fee. And a concept developed by one Professor James Nicholas Tully of Buckingham University, who says that you can make money out of the poor through daily fees. And so a lot of people were catching on that. And then at the end of the day, the motive was not to provide education, but to make money out of those people. Because if the child doesn't have money today, meaning because you are paying on a daily basis, so if you don't have money today, that means you have to stay at home. The day you get the money, you come. And in some cases, even the day you are not in school, when you come, you have to pay for the previous day. So we did some underground works, and then the findings were very damning. And so we thought that, no, we need to move in. And that's actually what brought about the whole thing. So basically, from this point of view, we feel that if government should make the needed investment in public education, then it becomes a choice between the public and private sector. And not because government failed to put up a school in that community, and that is why the parents are forced or compelled to take their children to that school. But we want the public school to be there, available, well-resourced, and then the private school there. And then parents make their choice between the public and the private, so that they are not compelled to access education through the private sector because the state has failed to provide the education. Children have to walk 10, 15 kilometers for education. Definitely, they cannot start school at age 4 because they cannot walk that distance. So you see that when you're looking at right age enrollment, somebody is 10 years old before coming to school for the first time in rural areas. The reason is that the nearest school is far away from them, and they have no means of reaching the school at that age. So they have to wait till they are grown enough to be able to start school. And we think that is unfortunate, especially in 21st century where we are all talking about growth.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the GET Fund.
Yeah, so...
But the GET Fund has been uncapped now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So GET Fund has been uncapped, and we're all very happy. And in fact, when it was capped, every year before the finance minister presents budget, we go there with placards to call for uncapping of the GET Fund. So when the new government announced the uncapping of the GET Fund, in fact, we were very happy. But then at the same time, very disappointed for the fact that when the fund was uncapped, free SHS was being sponsored from ABFA, the annual budget funding amount. Yeah. And so we were thinking that that process could continue.
No, when the fund was capped or uncapped?
When the fund was capped,
yeah,
the
free SHS
was sponsored from ABFA.
Yeah.
Very good. So we were of the view that now that it is uncapped, free SHS could still be sponsored from ABFA. Then the cap fund that is now released for the education sector can be channeled into infrastructure provision, because that is the primary goal of GET Fund. GET Fund was not established to pay scholarship for students, to provide food for students in school. It was actually set up to provide education, because the framers or the proponents of GET Fund thought it was that as we are growing as a country, there will be the need to expand access to education from KG to university. So let's put up some fund. That will be a seed money that we can use. So as we need to expand education infrastructure, we'll have something as a seed money that is sustainable, that we can rely on to have a progressive education infrastructure provision. Because when we talk about education infrastructure, we are not looking at only the classroom blocks and the desks inside. There are other things that goes into it, teaching and learning resources. We want to set up a STEM lab for a school to meet the 21st century science and the STEM education. You need, those are all facilities that are very expensive. And then they are also needed today.
But government is the one that sees the books, right?
Yeah.
Where government says it is able to tell that the funds we have, we can do A, B, C, and we can't do D, E, and F.
Yeah.
Well, if government says, I want to make GET Fund take care of free SHS, why do you think that government should stop?
Yeah, so...
When you don't have access to the box?
We are looking at the box. Even though we don't have access to it, but we all have eyes on it.
Okay.
So what is happening now is that the amount that was, when the gate fund was capped, we've not seen enough improvement in education infrastructure. Last year, if you recall, the commission only 80 rehabilitated schools, and then we hardly see a new school being built for the communities that need it. So what it means that...
They showcase new schools as well, didn't they?
Yes, by 80. And then the statistics we have is talking about 5,400 for the basic school sector alone. 5,400 schools are operating under trees.
Okay.
So we want to eliminate schools under trees. As of 2021, we needed just about 3.5 billion. Maybe today we'll be talking about 5 billion cedis. Then today we can say by the close of this year or next year, all schools under trees are removed. It didn't end there. The existing schools that we have, also you go to the urban centers, you are talking about class size of 80, 90, 120 in some cases, meaning there's a need for infrastructure. A class that has 80, 90 students in it needs 3 different classrooms, because you need, for effective teaching and learning to take place, you need just 30 people per teacher. An ideal situation, 25 per teacher for effective teaching and learning. Okay. So if you have 90, that means you are just creating impression that school is going on, but then no learning is taking place, no matter how qualified the teacher is, because you cannot attend to the individual needs of the child within that 15 minutes that is supposed to deliver a lesson for a particular subject. So basically, when you are doing that, your education system already will face crisis, and that is exactly what is happening. So there's a need for schools under 5,000 plus. We have primary schools without junior high school, 4,000 plus. Then we have schools that we know exist, also need expansion because of congestions in the classroom. So you could see that when it comes to education infrastructure at the basic level alone, we should be talking about 12,000 new schools, classroom blocks between 3 unit to 6 unit classroom blocks to be able to say that education sector now, in terms of the building alone, we have enough space for every child to sit comfortably and learn and have that one-on-one time with the teacher. Okay. So if you release the CAF funds and then you channel it into feeding, provision of uniforms, definitely you are not solving the problem. Meaning the children continue, the same free teachers will continue to run double track because there's no money for improving the infrastructure for all of them to go at the same time.
But it's not only GET Fund that provides infrastructure for schools.
Yeah, so if you look at how the budgetary system is done, it is what is appropriated that is used. So if you are saying that for all the teachers who teach at the basic level, with all the other things that you want to do, you are allocating 9 billion, and you cannot spend outside that because the budget didn't say that there's any extra money that is meant for that, unless maybe mid-year budget review. And that is why we have to talk about this now, so that maybe while the minister presents the mid-year budget review, they take some of this into consideration. And what is confusing, that is one of the reasons why we need to have this conversation, is that if you look at the way we look at education infrastructure, it's taken from people-teacher ratio. And then that concept is very deceptive, because people-teacher ratio will give you a rate that shows that, schools in Ewejagbawe, when you go to junior high school, you have 12 people to 1 teacher. That means if 12 people to 1 teacher, the impression is that there are only 12 people in a class that a teacher is teaching. But you go to that same place, you have over 120 people in a class because of the ratio they use, people-teacher ratio. So if we are looking at education infrastructure provision from class size, where you look at the actual figures in each school, and not looking at the district's people-teacher ratio, which shows that we don't even need to post more teachers to that district, because the ratio is 12 for junior high school, 26 for primary school. It means that you will not be compelled to make allocation for infrastructure, teachers, deployment of teachers to that particular place. But the issue on the ground is that the class sizes are very large, which requires additional classroom to be able to have the ideal class size that the teachers can teach. And then you go to GSMEs, and then because we always rely on people-teacher ratio, the Ministry of Finance will not see the need to make allocation for that. And that is why we are coming from, that we need to change that system of calculating infrastructure provision from PTR Okay. And then we look at the actual class sizes.
Okay. So right now they've uncapped. We are wrapping up.
Yes.
They've uncapped Get Fund, but you're saying that even when they've uncapped, they've brought the funding of free SHS into it. So basically, it is still you have not solved it. So you want government to extricate the two?
Yes. So government should go back to funding free SHS from ABFA, and then devote the fund, Get Fund, to improving the infrastructure in the school. So at the basic level, every school that operates under trees, we can say that within the next 4 or 5 years, we will admit all of our 5,000 schools under tree. We can end double track system by this time. But if that is not done, this system will live with us. And if your education system is very weak, once you are not investing now, meaning your curriculum in the first place will also be weak, and then its implementation will also be weak. And then we'll be spending more solving problems that could have been solved if the people are given proper education.
All right. I'm grateful to you. Richard Kwashi Covey is convener for CAPCO. This is still the AM show. We will be back with another interaction. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the AM show, and we're going to do something that will interest all of you. You know, this is the conversation. It's a boys, man-to-man conversation, but with the kind of hall that if I had gone to the University of Ghana, if they had given me any hall apart from that one, I may probably have withdrawn from the university, because that's the hall for the university. I'm here with Old Vandals. I have with me here, Chief Baini himself, Lineker, Boadu, and then Kwekwa Sante, our parliamentary affairs correspondent here. Okay, so Chief Baini, what are we talking about? What do we have today? I'm told there is a jamboree of a sort today. What's going on?
Yes, Old Vandals is an alumni body of University of Ghana for students who get the opportunity or the privilege of being at Commonwealth Hall.
It's really a privilege, yeah.
Yeah, and so we've instituted a yearly get-together where we've dubbed it Jamboree, where all Vandals, home and abroad, come to a venue where we network, we think about the development of our hall, and discuss national issues. So this year, the theme for the Jamboree is the return of vandalism, resetting for positive national development.
Return of vandalism. Positive resetting for national development.
Exactly.
Hey, vandalism and resetting. Anyway, Lineker.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so it means that there will be, but the theme, get me more on the theme. Vandalism, return of vandalism. Vandalism, they say the same amount.
You see, that has always been the perception of people that vandalism is about vandalizing.
Okay.
But it's more of the acronyms than just the word vandalism.
Okay.
And there's a lot of perceptions. You see, but today I'm here to talk more about the great people that vandalism has produced.
Okay.
Me, I'm a businessman, so I always want to go the business way. As we speak, we have more than 20 vandals within Parliament.
Okay.
We have the first gentleman of the country being a vandal.
Oh.
We have the Prime Minister, which is the Chief of Staff, being a vandal.
Oh.
We have top bank managers. We have the Supreme Court judges, Justice Anim, who is going to be the chairman of the occasion today, was the Chief Justice of this country. And when you go to Supreme Court now, we may have between 3 to 5 vandals as Supreme Court judges. The other places, the appeal courts, everywhere we see vandals. Top businesses in this country are owned by vandals. Therefore, people should not perceive the word vandalism as destroyers.
Okay.
They should rather see us that we put our energy to do things of national cause. That's why he says that, look, there has been an ups and downs. We've been suppressed to some extent, but now we say we are the return of vandalism. We are returning back to our fold. We are coming back fully united. and then we are resetting ourselves. Because you see, whatever that happens in Ghana, if you don't have vandals in, it doesn't work.
Okay.
We put governments on their toes. And let me tell you, what we are enjoying as Ghanaians in terms of democracy, the Fourth Republic was giving birth at Commonwealth. When Kwaku Bako dams everybody, when people could not speak, Kwaku Bako dams will come to Commonwealth. That was the hiding place for them to strategize, to push with Adubuain dams to have the Fourth Republic. Okay. So for we vandals, we defend the nation. And when we go down, the nation gets suffered. And we want to come back fully and make sure Ghana will take the standard Ghanaians are looking for.
You said you've been surprised. What was surprising you, really?
You see, I've been surprised because we've been surprised.
Yeah, by who?
By the authorities that be. For instance, 17 boys of Commonwealth boys were taken to jail. For 6 solid days, after these boys have been taken out of a police station cells in Sukura, we knew the authorities say they were not continuing the case. As we speak, they have suspended about 14 of the boys for 3 or 5 years. So these boys are going to be out of school.
Okay.
7 JCR leadership made a press conference that their hall master is being asked to step aside. Therefore, they don't support. Just a mere press conference they did, which Joy News even carried. These guys' degrees has been withheld.
Oh.
So there are terrible things going up, and we vandals must rise up.
Okay. So it's a rising up that is starting tonight.
It's starting as we are standing on Joy News. Okay. As you are interviewing us, it has started, and you are part of us today.
Oh, okay. So today, what would a day look like?
Well, we are expecting very important dignitaries. As my seniors mentioned, His Excellency the President of the Republic is a vandal. We are expecting him to grace the occasion. The Honorable Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, has confirmed that he will be attending the program. His deputy, the Honorable Dr. Clementa Park, is also a former chief of the hall. He will also be attending, including other very important people like the former Chief Justice, Justice Enini Yeboah, the Attorney General, Dr. Ayeni Dominic, and the over 20 people we have in Parliament who all hail from the vandal tradition and who connect their success in politics and business to the values and the principles that they were taught at Commonwealth Hall. So today is a day of celebration. Vandalism is about excellence. It's about dignity, and it's about speaking the truth. So today we are celebrating ourselves. We are reflecting on some of our battles, as Chief Lineker spoke about, and then we are repurposing and re-strategizing for the years and decades ahead.
Were you a chief in the hall?
I was not.
You were not?
I was a student leader, though.
Okay. Anyway, but once it's you call it a jamboree, it means that there will be food, there will be drinks, because I love food, I love drinks. Chief Bani, there will be, right?
Yeah, sure.
There will be food.
Sure, there will be merrymaking, and of course that is typical of after serious business have been discussed and all said and done.
Okay.
Of course, the members and the friends and associates will party.
So I'm like an associate.
No, you are welcome.
Of Vandal, today.
So we'll go through a process to make you one of us.
Thank you. Yes. I'll gladly do that.
And let me say that we receive a lot of applications from many distinguished people who want to identify with a brand.
Okay.
And so the bids
I love that word, the brand, because the brand, vandal is a brand.
Vandalism. For example, we had a project where we were going to put about 4,000 bed capacity to solve the acute shortage of accommodation on campus. We got land, we done all documentation, the sort cutting was done, and equipment or machines were moved to site. And some people who were anti-vandalism and positive development scuttled the process.
Oh.
It's unfortunate. For example, Old Vandals Association, we raised an amount of $75,000. And we were using it to renovate the washrooms, to bring it to a modern standard. So we started with the administration, A block, and we're spreading it to all the blocks.
That too?
They stopped it.
What reason did they give?
No, you see, and that is where the bit of the victimization, the unnecessary, twisting.
Because I know schools are built with old students, really. So if the association comes together to say we want to renovate and it's free of charge, why would anybody, or it wasn't free?
No, it was free.
So why would anybody stop that?
No, so the point I'm saying is that, you see, you started by asking Kwame, are you being suppressed?
Yeah.
You see, it's rather unfortunate that when you get a group of people who are able to mobilize themselves for positive agenda, one would have expected that the institutions in that space will support that cause, But unfortunately, because of misconception, or people call it naked or hatred for a brand, you see people misalign purpose. And so things that all of us should have rallied behind Old Vandals to make sure. For example, the
5,200.
Yeah. 5,200 hostel.
Yeah. And we gave ourselves 4 years.
Complete.
So we could have finished that project last year. Think of what 4,000 or 5,000 bed capacity could have done in solving accommodation issues.
A lot.
And so we are saying that we are not deterred by the, call it distractions or disruptions. We know that any good thing doesn't come easy. So we are rededicating ourselves to a good cause. And we want to believe that all good people who have the University of Ghana, and for that matter, Commonwealth or at heart, should come and support our cause. And today is a finest opportunity to showcase to the world that, notwithstanding the distractions here and there, we are still committed to bringing those good ideas to the fore for the benefit of students on campus and the generation yet to come.
All right. Now, in every community, the skyline is dotted with uncompleted buildings. Some at, roofing levels, each one telling a particular story, a dream, a home in the making, because home ownership remains one of humanity's greatest desires. Wherever you are on this journey, whether you are breaking ground, building up, or simply furnishing your space, the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is designed with you in mind. So join us from Friday, July 25 to Sunday, July 27 at the EcoBank branch, Tama Community 5, opposite KFC, for the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair second clinic 2025. Let's help turn your home ownership dream into a lived reality. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is powered by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and brought to you by Drive EVGH, Drive into a Sustainable Future. Virtual Security Africa, security for all, safety and homes solutions. You think of a door, we have it. Superlock Technologies Limited, you deserve the best. DPS Pipes, connecting you to life. Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality always meets value. Gold Key Properties, transform your landscape. Ayuda, Ghana's #1 services app. App back on services, Bebre. Special Gardens, memorable living. Also, DBS Industries Limited, we truly are your roof experts. Door Masters, the best indoors. Also, Lesh Fortune Limited, unleashing luxury with perfection, one space at a time. And LandlordAfrica.com, bringing the real estate industry to your doorstep. The Builders Market Bathroom, get it right. House Energy Limited, let's build smarter energy together. Masters in solar installation. Syntex Tank, strong, tough. Also, Interplast, make sure water reaches you even in space. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investment. Western Villas, where dream meet reality. Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair 2025. Dream it, own it, and live it. You know what? One thing I brought Kweku here for, Kweku is a very intelligent young man. He's a very fantastic guy. I love him. I also want to have him around me. But one thing I brought him here is for him to give us Jama. Kweku, but where is this happening today?
But before the Jama goes,
which venue?
We are doing behind the Legon police station.
Behind the Legon police
station? Yes, the old, the South Village Park.
South Village Park. What time is it starting?
It's starting, we have started even cleaning. Okay. We're doing a clean up over there, and it's starting. Okay. But when you finish the business of the day, please join us. Okay. But let me put this one out there. I want Ghanaians to refrain from short-term gains against the long-term benefits. Okay. Why am I saying this?
Our time.
Your time is up. But let me.
I think that makes a point. But you want to.
But I wanted to let me finish it out. You see, the event we are having today, some people didn't want it to happen. That's why they said there's COVID.
I hear. All right. Kweku?
But the program is starting 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Okay.
1 p.m. sharp.
Okay. All right then. But there's something you said. I say, yeah, bro, dada, yeah, bro. No. But you have your Jama. Let's go.
Well, you know, I'm not sure whether this environment.
Let's use those. No. But we can go on. Power belongs to vandals.
Yeah.
Probably that will resonate with our.
Power belongs to vandals forever, forever. Power belongs to vandals forever. Power belongs to vandals forever, forever. Power belongs to vandals forever.
Thank you. Okay, Charlie.